said, are we live? Are we live today in his air? Are we live? That's all I want to know. Are we live? Are we live? I don't see it. I don't see if we live or not. Are we live in his air? That's all I want to know. Are we live? Well, let's get it done.
Broke that road, one man show, so now you know. Yeah. Coming at y'all separately. But I'm coming with the facts. You know I got the knack to sound it like it is. If you think you want come around me, that young stuff, son's gonna get knocked out. Somebody tell me, why am I different? Why can't I see when no one else can? Why do I feel the urge to lead and not follow? If I'm not advising others, why do I feel hollow? Why am I there to share my opinion is foolish? Who could care less? If I was in danger, so why do I try to help friends? Somebody tell me why are my people so screwed up? Are they crazy? Are they lazy? Or y'all just plain nuts? Seriously though, when did a loser become hit? Why do we stand by and let the government strip away the rights and privileges? I've heard four score and 40 years ago, my people had to deal with the triple K and Jim Crow laws that said separate, unequal. Doesn't that sound strange? 40 years later, things haven't changed, but you naively front and attitude was stopped by a racist cop who only sees you as an outcast. A black man is that last on the scales of justice. The man should trust and you abandon your fellow man. Don't you understand? He doesn't care about you until you move next door or see. Cause there's poor of a daughter as a member of a quarter. He will and can decide your fate. You're in America, son. You can't escape by getting high or getting drunk. Come on, black male. Y'all men are punks. It's time to wake up. I can't do no one else as a black man needs to take the stand. All I'm saying is, you know you're doing wrong. The black you don't want to be back. I just want to better take my God and the black man. You start worrying about the man. Why am I different? Somebody tell me why are women attracted to losers? Why are men attracted to sluts? Why is a man who handles business foreign? Why is a female who works and comes straight home to her man taken for granted? What's up, my people? What's up? Why do you guys risk their life and freedom? The honey who only wants to spend the drug money. Why do we same money for children for these dealers who could be shot or locked up at any time? Who's gonna raise them? What's up, black people? What's up? Black women, stop selling yourself short. Stop laying up with men who use the sex as a sport. Stop trying to change the rebel and the hood. He may be great in bed, but he's no good as a mate. Date a man who respects, not molest you. So bad with me, I know I'm preaching, but I'm only teaching you what you already know. Cause when you meet a man, you should take it slow. Tell yourself like a lady. That man with that Mercedes or Lex is a perfect time. If he doesn't respect you as a queen, you are loving. A poor man who loves you back is not solid. So be satisfied. Your campaign will flare. Who only tells you lies? Black women, my sisters, wake up. We need to wake up. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on, something ain't right. Why the volume so low?
But you know, if you lay up with a guy for years and you have a kid with him, 2 kids with him, and he don't take care of the first one or two, why you gonna have more with him? I'm tired of thinking about man rules. Get him off your budget. You know what I'm saying? It's better to have a little assured than to be on somebody else's time. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying, stick up with church. I mean, really study the word. When you do those things, the devil is going to tell your idols out here won't affect on you. They won't save you. Let me tell the third person. Don't pick on the women. It's time to talk to the black businessman. You know who you are. Black businessman. Can you show me how you got to the top? I brought my pride. If you're meant to me like someone did for you, or are you scared to say your secrets out of fear that I might excel and reach a higher level than you, sir? You're a role model for the community, but you pack up and leave the city for the suburbs, not giving any thought to the people you leave behind. Who you you abandon those who could benefit, learn, but those who turn and follow the man who treats you like a pet. As long as he has more things than you, he'll parade you around like a puppet on a string. It's a black man who made it your savior. To tell you how you can get out together if you're accused until he gets tired or he gets fired or something's missing. He'll get the media fishing so they find a way to bring you down. Then you wanna come back around the way, but you get no spray in the hood. Now you're scared because no one cares if you live or die because you sold out for a piece of the pie. Wake up, black businessman, black man in general. My black women, wake up.
Hey, Facts of Life. I wasn't young when I made it. We gotta go back. Hey, I'm sorry. We gotta go back. We gotta go back. We gotta go back.
Black businessman. Can you tell me how you got to the top? I rock my pride. If you're meant to me, like someone did for you. Or are you scared to take it because out of fear that I might never reach a higher level than you, sir? You're a role model for the community, but you pack up and leave the city for the suburbs. Not giving insult to the people you leave behind. Who you grew up with, you abandon those who could benefit, learn, but those who turn and follow the man who treats you like a pet. As long as he has more things than you, he'll parade you around like a puppet on a string. It's a black man who made it your savior. To tell you how you can get out together if you're accused until he gets tired or he gets fired or something's missing. He'll get the media fishing so they find a way to bring you down. Then you wanna come back around the way, but you get no straight in the hood. Now you're scared because no one cares if you live or die because you sold out for a piece of the pie. Wake up, black businessman, black man in general. My black women, wake up.
Come on with it now. You gotta break it down. This is something that you can't do. Sissy Mayor, you can't do this. Can you do this, Seven Deli? Come on.
Rodero, the one, man, show, now, you know.
Can you do that in the middle of a song? Live. Can you do it? No, you can't.
Wake up, black man. Come together and unite. We can win the fight.
We can win the fight.
Rodero, woman show.
I know I hit that pause button. It restarted. All right, y'all. Welcome to the Minister Brother Derek Show. I'm sorry, y'all. I was getting down on them tubular bells. You can say what you want to say. But to be able to do that in the middle of a song and not have it planned, that's talent. That was not planned. That's my most favorite part of the whole song. It wasn't planned. It's called natural ability. Natural, not staged. That's why when we do our sermons, I don't read anything on it. I say what the Spirit tell me, and then we go and see what the scholars say. Doesn't match what I say. That's the excitement of it. Just because you laid out something, you should be able to switch it up. If you gotta do the same thing over and over and over again, if all you can do is take something out and bring something in, that's not creating, that's not composing. My intros don't sound the same, and my exits don't sound the same. Liz says she can't party tonight, she just wanted to stop in for a few. Well, I promised I was going to get to these topics. This topic that this young lady wanted us to do last night. So I found some articles on it, and we're going to go look at it. And we're going to take a look at the news. I know it's late. I apologize to y'all. My body wasn't cooperating. Shoot, we did 9 hours, almost 10 hours yesterday. Yeah, y'all should be sick of me. But I appreciate y'all for coming by. So let's go ahead and get this theme song out the way. Hold on one second. Let me get some water. Give me a second now. Let me do the theme song. I got the water on deck. It ain't frozen, doggone it. I was hoping it'd be frozen, but that's alright. It's cold. I was hoping it'd be frozen. Let me wet my whistle before we do this theme song here. Y'all know we do it live. Special Life says that was a good show last night. I felt like a baby. Well, it wasn't a good show for everybody. I'm glad that y'all enjoyed it. Alright, let's pull a theme song up here. We haven't done it in a couple days. Let's go to desktop and pull it up. Where you at? That volume down some. Come on and hold me tight, but all you wanna do is fuss, cuss, argue and fight. See, y'all ain't right. All I wanna do is hold you tight, but all you wanna do is fuss, cuss, argue and fight. See, I can't help you out with that, but check this out. Take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD Show. Take it easy and take it slow, and welcome to the Brother Aaron Camp. You other YouTubers, y'all straight greasy. Your whack beef videos sound cheesy. Please, somebody release me. Take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD Show. Take it easy and take it slow, and welcome to the Brother Aaron Camp. Put that la in it. I ain't stressing. I'm trying to teach a lesson. I ain't stressing, I'm trying to teach a lesson. I ain't stressing, I'm here to teach a lesson. Keeping you other YouTubers out there guessing. So take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD Show. Take it easy and take it slow, and welcome to the Millennium here. You other YouTubers, y'all straight greasy. Your whack beef videos sound cheesy. Please, somebody call Jeezy. Take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD Show. Take it easy and take it slow, and welcome to the Brother Aaron Camp. Put that la in it. Oh, Mr. Hey, don't turn off delight. Bring my beat back. Oh, midnight. Hey, don't turn off the light. Don't turn off the light. But take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD Show. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the Brother Derek. Yeah, put that la in it. Oh, midnight. Hey, don't turn off the light. Easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD Show. We'll begin. You other YouTubers, y'all straight greasy. Your whack beef videos sound cheesy. Please, somebody release me. Take it easy and take it slow. Welcome to the BD Show. Take it easy and take it slow. And welcome to the Brother Derek Show. Put that R-E in it. There is that. All righty. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. Oops, I had both of them playing at the same time. Oh, Lord. I know the PC was crying. Go ahead and relax. There we go. All right, go ahead and relax there, Mr. PC. You working a little overtime right there. My bad. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Just went and looked to make sure we had a good percentage. Don't want the phone to die on us again. Let me check the chat and we can get started. Welcome, everybody. Pastor Life said, that's a funky beat, laugh out loud. You sounded young making this. Well, I was young when I made it. That's 27 years old. Nia says, happy Monday, BDS and gang. Liz says, hey, can't party tonight. Just want to stop in for a few. Well, I appreciate you, Liz. Pastor Life said, that was a good show last night. I felt like a baby. Nia says, hey. She says, oh my. Yeah. What'd you say, oh my, to? We just here to have a good time. Somebody asked us to look at a topic, and we're going to do that tonight. I said I would, and I keep my word. So we're going to get through that. Then we got some news stories. We got some news. And then we'll go find some. We did a 9.5-hour show last night. And guess what? We don't get nothing for it. Out of all the videos that we showed, 2 of them filed copyrights and took the money. So I did it for nothing. So that was a free show, which didn't do nothing to help our total, because yesterday was the last day, the 15th. So 9 hours or nothing. But anyway, we roll on. We roll on. Let's get to our first topic. Our first topic is a topic that was brought to us by... Before I even do this, let me ask y'all. I don't know why this thing always say ain't nobody here. It says 10 concurrent viewers up here, but says there's 0 people here. Why did YouTube do that? Now it's saying it's 10 people here. Before it was saying it was nobody here. Alright, everybody that's here, I need y'all to say something, because we need to take a vote. Now, before she had a meltdown yesterday, we had gave Chung Lee her rents back and had freed her channel. Should she be allowed I'm gonna look into that now because we had got caught up. I was on top of it, and then we got caught up, and you know. But anyway, like I said, all it takes is one. So at least we're not getting flagged down because they're taking the money. It's a risk to play them videos. You never know who's gonna say something. It's a risk. Anytime you play somebody else's video, so you never know. Kevin King might come get us one day. You never know. But yeah, I do need a timer. You see, it's real small on the screen. Y'all see it in the left-hand corner? We've been on for 21 minutes. When I'm showing you something full screen, I can't see it. It's on the OBS too. But if I got it full screen, I can't see it. But how many of y'all are here? Where you at, Tony? Where's Papa D? I need everybody. I need everybody to vote. Why not? So he can text. I just typed something. He can see it. Hey, chat, you see it? Can you see it? I want y'all to let me know what should we do about Chung Lee. She hit me up this morning on the Hangouts, but she never responded. But she did apologize. So what do y'all think we should do? Y'all let me know what y'all think we should do. Well, Nia, why don't you go invite him? Why don't you go invite him to come over? You ever think of that, dear? What should we do about Chung Lee? She's going to have these flare-ups. I mean, if y'all can deal with it, then we just keep dealing with it. It ain't a big deal to me. It don't bother me. You know, well, I had a stepfather and a great grandmother that was like that. So, and two aunts. So it doesn't bother me. I'm used to it, but I don't want to lose people. We ain't got that many to lose. So if y'all don't have no issue, then I'll take it off the table and let's get right into it. Now, she was talking about generational abuse yesterday. And the fact of the matter is, as long as you have civilization, not everything is going to be perfect. It's supposed to be mother and father, married, children, well behaved, doing well in school, on the honor roll. That's supposed to be the American dream. Well, that's what I'm saying, Naya. Should we continue to let her come here and just overlook her faults? That's what I'm asking. If y'all don't mind, then I'm asking if y'all are cool with it, then you know it add a little spice to the show. But like I was saying, you're supposed to have a mother, father, children, supposed to be a grandparent in the house. That would be the perfect world, but we don't live in the perfect world. In the perfect world, child comes home from school, they don't come home. They would go to grandma's house and grandpa's house. And then when one of them dies, the grandparent would usually come to the children, their child that had the most children, and they would help raise them. That was the perfect family. That perfect family has been disseminated. You got latchkey kids. You got people that got drug addiction, alcohol addiction. You got unemployment. Women don't know how to pick men. All these things add up. You wind up with a bunch of, instead of having one nuclear family, you actually have temporary families. Whatever man or woman can find to come stay with her for a little while, that seems to be the norm. That seems to be what's normal. We seem to have a lot of step families. I was part of one. We had a lot of step families because women don't know how to pick men. And they don't make the right decision until it's too late. Where they already have 2 or 3 kids with some other man. We need to change that. But with all these families coming together, separating, somebody new come in, separating, somebody new come in, separating, in between all that, there's a lot of abuse going on. A lot of physical, mental, and sexual abuse going on. And almost every family has it. I'm asking you, do y'all have a problem with that? That's what I'm asking, Nia. If y'all are okay with her, then we'll let it be. If y'all are not okay with it, then we need to make some decisions. That's what I'm asking. Special Life says, what the hell, let her in. Well, she isn't blocked. She waited right till I unblocked her, and then she wilded out. I don't see it in the chat. Are you here, Sean Lee? Say hello. So our topic today is generational abuse. It goes on. Almost everybody's family is touched by generational abuse. Some more than others, some less. But there are 500,000 children in this country suffering right now, if not more. I'm just being conservative by saying 500,000. Right now, thousands of human beings are being slapped right now. Thousands of human beings are being pushed down right now. Thousands of human beings are being punched right now. Hey, Chun-Li, how do we stop this? This is something that's inbred. You saw your parents do it to you, you're going to do it to your kids. For everyone who says, I'm not going to be like my parents, if you've had a child, you know that's a lie. Because as much as you can't stand, your parents said, I don't believe you did this. What the heck is the matter with you? Are you stupid? You won't find yourself. I don't believe you did this. What's the matter with you? Are you freaking? Oh my God, I sound like my daggone mom. That's gonna be you with your kids. Some of y'all are not saying nothing. Some of y'all say, I sure do say I. My mother used to say things to us, kids, to our stepfather. Used to call him half dead. Anybody who remembers the movie, what the crap was it? The movie with Isaac Washington, the boxing movies that came out in the 70s. Y'all remember? There was a guy in there, they called him half dead. They said he was doing life, he can't get out. So technically he's half dead to the world. Because he ain't gonna never get out of jail. So technically he's half dead. When I came across a woman that had children, I found myself saying things that my mother would say, things that my grandmother would say. It's built in. Chun-Li said sometimes abuse gets carried on through generations like a virus. Yes, because unfortunately, a woman goes after a man just like her father. Even though she'll be defiant in her teens. In her preteen, she'll be defiant and will want to find the guy that her father hates the most. But in the end, she winds up with a guy that reminds her of her father. And there are some women who have been abused that you can't be nice to. They'll do things like empty out the bank account. They'll do things like set stuff on fire. They'll do things like erase everything in your phone. They will do things to piss you off. Because if you're not hitting them, you don't love them. If you're not putting your hands on them, you don't love them. Some women, they got to search your phone. Got to check your Facebook. If you're not cheating on them, you don't love them. Because that's what their father did to their mother. Some women know that their boyfriends are molesting their children, but they so desperate to keep a man, they turn their head. And then when the child come up pregnant or the child come up dead, then they act surprised. They knew what was going on. But they said to themselves, hey, I had to deal with it. It's your turn. My mom made me deal with it. Now it's your turn. He go in there and mess around with you. He paying all the bills. You helping everybody eat. Be happy. That's abuse. You know, people used to say that the Tyler Perry plays were fake when they talked about abuse. And it is fake. But they tell a good story. Chong Li says people deal with the abuse in different ways, and that's true. Some people just shrug it off. It don't faze them. Some people become addicted to drugs to escape. Some people become addicted to alcohol. Some people become addicted to sex. And the sad part is, a lot of the people who are touched, they touch. Popular Son admitted that because, according to him, he was molested by African Bambaataa, that he molested kids that were smaller than him. This is a pattern. Chong Li said it does faze them even when they don't show it. Yes, a child will become quiet or timid or the total opposite and become a handful, become a mess. In trouble all the time. You don't understand why he in trouble all the time. Can't pay attention in school. Can't get along with his friends. Why he want to stay at the school? Why they don't want to go home at the right time? Why are they afraid to go home? Us being in this pandemic, the teachers are trained to look for signs in the abuse of children. By a lot of places not having school right now, over these past 7 months, these are perilous times for little children. Because at least a teacher might intervene. There's nobody to help them now. Churches are closed. A lot of the churches are not open, so they can't go to the pastor for help. We need to pay attention to our kids. All the kids in our community. Sometimes you see it and you turn your head. let's go take a look. Intergenerational trauma. Let me blow it up for y'all. Y'all know I don't look at these, so I don't know what we're going to read. 6 ways it affects families. Have you ever heard the term intergenerational trauma? What about generational curse? Intergenerational trauma is a concept developed to help explain years of generational challenges within families. It is the transmission or sending down to younger generations of the oppressive or traumatic effects of a historical event. For example, a great-grandmother who was placed in a concentration camp in Germany may have learned to cope by cutting off her emotions. Because of this grandmother may interact with her family in an emotionally distant fashion. That relationship may be tumultuous, to say the least. The transmission of a historical trauma may begin to negatively affect her grandchildren and her grandchildren's children, etc., leading to generations of emotional distance, defensive behaviors around expressions of emotions, and denial. Intergenerational problems, including oppression, can often be found in families that have been traumatized in severe forms. Example, sexual abuse, rape, murder, etc. This article will highlight some of the ways intergenerational trauma can affect younger generations and families. The consequences of intergenerational trauma are rarely, if ever, discussed unless a therapist or other mental health professional mentions it. While it is a very important topic, it is a topic that many mental health professionals are either uninformed about or simply ain't interested. But for trauma therapists, it is important for us to explore how trauma may have negatively impacted generations of family members. For example, a mother who is struggling with her daughter's sexual abuse might have been sexually abused by her father, who may have also been sexually abused by his father. The impact of generational trauma is significant. A parent or grandparent who never truly healed from or explored their own trauma may find it very difficult to provide emotional support to a family member suffering from his or her own trauma. Sadly, many families cope with intergenerational trauma by employing 2 unhealthy coping mechanisms. Denial, refusing to acknowledge the trauma happened. Minimization, ignoring the impact of the trauma and making a traumatic experience appear smaller than what it is. The ways in which family members cope with intergenerational trauma can set the precedence for younger generations. For example, a grandparent who refused to examine the impact of her trauma may be teaching her grandchildren, unintentionally or intentionally, to ignore the impact of their trauma. Sooner or later, the trauma is likely to be triggered by something. Trauma is not something you can hide from, no matter how hard you try. As a result, I've learned over time by treating multiple clients with traumatic histories that there are a few ways intergenerational trauma negatively impact families. 1. Generations may struggle with emotions. As noted above, older generations often set the stage knowingly or unknowingly for how emotions within the family are dealt with. Do you hide your emotions and act as if nothing is happening? Do you internalize your emotions until something triggers them to come spilling out? Or does your family drink or use drugs to cope with the pain? Whatever way the trauma is dealt with, older generations within a family set the stage for how traumatic events should be and often are coped with. Sadly, the trauma continues throughout generations because those who needed help never received it. And in other cases, the family members who were traumatized may even transfer negative emotions onto others within the family, such as children or other family members. I hate when they do this. Okay, so let's blow this up. So they could just had it all on one page. I really don't like that. Anyway, where are we at? 2. Trauma can limit the parent-child relationship. Parents who do not receive help or support for their trauma can develop unhealthy relationships with their child or grandchild. An unhealthy relationship may be characterized by emotional, psychological, or verbal abuse. In serious cases, the abuse may be sexual or physical. Family members who sexually or physically abuses their child may scare them into not telling anyone or asking for help. This type of abuse can severely alter the parent-child relationship, as the abuser, the one traumatized, is misplacing emotions onto the innocent child and keeping the child from telling others of the abuse. This, of course, is not a justification for all cases of abuse, but there are many families that fit this description. 3. Unresolved psychiatric problems can lead to relational turmoil. It is a known fact that older generations do not believe in pursuing the help of mental health, even in medical health professionals. The attitude is often, I can heal myself. Some people go so far as to say, they don't know me, I know myself better. I can help myself. Family members who are struggling with mental health conditions, depression, anxiety, psychotic symptoms, etc., truly need help, because unresolved psychiatric symptoms can lead to further trauma and emotional turmoil within one's family. In severe cases, the psychiatric symptoms spread to social and work relationships. 4. Borderline behaviors may develop in younger generations. One of the presuming ideas around BPD is that invalidating environments, example, environments where one's emotions were minimized or ignored, which are often present in families of intergenerational trauma, may lead to developing symptoms of BPD and ultimately failed familiar and social relationships. Because of the trauma of an older relative, the younger generation may experience emotional and psychological abuse, which can result in feeling invalidated. These repeated feelings can then lead to liable or switchable emotions, leading to BPD-like symptoms. Of course, genetics and upbringing, including many other risk and protective factors, also play a role. Younger generations may develop a content attitude about how things are. As noted above, older generations set the stage for how things within a family are addressed. If ignoring and minimizing and even accepting the trauma is normal for the family, younger generations will adapt to this way of survival and mimic the behaviors for generations to come. Individuals who ignore or minimize and deny family trauma are only making matters worse for younger family members. Much of how we cope with traumatic experiences learned. If your family has never learned to seek therapeutic support, reach out for social support, etc., then you are likely to become content with the way you have learned to cope. What has been your experience with intergenerational problems? Most people believe there are generational curses that influence the younger generations and predispose them to problems of all kinds. What is your take? All right. Let's check the chat. Oops, I pulled the wrong thing up. Pull the chat up real quick. Nia says, it's kind of simple. Break the cycle by not repeating abusive patterns. Seek professional help. Reveal to the authorities who the abusers are, and if possible, some hurt people hurt people. Nia says, educate children about what is abuse, when to recognize and speak. Sean-Lee says, right, Nia. Sean-Lee says, I thought this could help people. And Liz says, yes, Nia. All right, let's get to our second article. I thought I had 3 of them. But it's only 2 of them. I don't know what the other one is. But okay. All right. New York Times. Breaking the abuse cycle. I'd heard that people who were abused as children often abused their own kids. I was so determined not to hurt my baby that I was afraid to even clip her nails. Yeah, I knew that the pop-ups were coming. Months before our daughter was born, my husband had noticed in sonogram images that she looked like me. She had my broad forehead, high cheekbones, and the same small nose. And when she arrived, the resemblance was overwhelming. I recognized the shade of her ash brown eyebrows and the faint purple thread veins crisscrossing her cheeks. It was like unexpectedly seeing someone from the past I'd rather not remember. The last time I had seen that face in a person was in the mirror of my childhood home. In that home, any minor annoyance could set off a frightening rampage. I was abused by a parent who left bruises on my wrist when I was 5 years old after I accidentally scratched my younger sister's finger during a game. When I didn't hang up the dog's collar in exactly the right position, I was threatened with being choked by it. When I looked down at my baby, I realized that my parents must have once looked down at me, nestled in much the same way, and seen a similar face. And then one of them abused me for the next 15 years. It's a shibboleth among child abuse survivors that we're at higher risk of abusing our own children. In the past, studies suggested that about 1/3 of child abuse survivors become abusers too, transmitting our trauma to our descendants. On one side of my family, I can trace our lineage of child abuse back at least 4 generations to my great-grandmother, whose father is said to have once struck her in the head so hard that I had bled on the other side. In 2015, a study published in Science used 30 years of Child Protective Service Agency records and reports from parents and children to debunk the idea that parents who were physically abused as children are more likely to physically abuse their kids. Researchers did find that the children of child abuse victims were more likely to be neglected or sexually abused. However, the study author Cassie Spaz-Wiedum pointed out that the use of data from Child Protective Services may have picked up neglect and sexual abuse cases that are overlooked in the general population. What we found that it was not inevitable, not deterministic, but not the majority of these cases, Dr. Wiedum said. It had this important message that you shouldn't. One shouldn't, if you have a history, that you shouldn't necessarily feel you're bound to continue in this cycle of maltreatment. The violence in my family was stopped when my parents separated. When I was 15, at that time, I thought of healing as a discrete task with a definite endpoint, a line item. I could check off my mental health to-do list. I hope it will be officially healed one day and serenity will fall over the rest of my life like a quiet, steady snow. Instead, every major milestone has the potential to touch off a new aftershock. Many child abuse survivors grapple with how to translate our childhood experiences into our new families. What does it mean for us and our children that we come from people who have often hurt us most? In my baby's first month of life, I experienced intrusive thoughts that a switch would flip inside me and I would hurt my child too. The vivid images filled me with horror and anxiety. I dreaded my husband's return to work. In the first few weeks alone with our baby, I paused at the end of each day to give myself credit for keeping her safe and healthy. My therapist, who I began seeing when I was pregnant, told me that the intrusive thoughts were a manifestation of my fear of becoming abusive too. You have them because you're scared of hurting your baby, not because you want to, she said. As the slow days of motherhood passed, I realized she was right. Nothing in me wanted to hurt my child. Before I loved as a parent, the abuse I experienced growing up felt inevitable. I didn't think of violence as a choice because I didn't know what it was like to have total power over a child's life. But when I held my newborn, her unassumingly fragility broke my heart. What I had previously seen as an unavoidable part of my history suddenly looked like a series of incomprehensible parental decisions. It had never been my fate to be abused and abuse my child in return. Abuse is rooted in a desire to control others and often a belief that one's own desires to take precedence over other people's needs, according to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Addiction and other untreated mental health conditions can loosen a person's inhibitions and intensify abuse, but the core causes are authoritarianism and self-centeredness. I could choose differently. When my daughter was about a week old, I cut her fingernails for the first time. They had been jagged from birth but short, so I had waited because, like many first-time parents, I was afraid of accidentally cutting her tiny fingers. For the first time, she swiped at her face with her talons. I pulled out my baby nail clippers, held my breath, and trimmed her soft nails as my younger sister held her. On the fourth finger, I snipped a bit of skin. My baby cried in pain, and my husband grabbed a box of tissues. I tried to stop the bleeding, but then my husband stepped in to help, and then my sister, who is a labor and delivery nurse. But because newborn's blood flow is slow to clot, her finger bled for half an hour. I sat on the couch in a stunned, guilty silence. It was the first time I had clearly made a mistake for which my child was suffering. My sister, the same one whose finger I had scratched as a child, triggering abuse, pressed a tissue to my baby's cut. You will accidentally hurt her sometimes, but you will help her more, she said. Alrighty. Let's pull up the chat, see if we got any comments. Oh, she put the link in the chat. Why did you put it in the chat? Let me see if we can get it out. It won't even let me, I can't even highlight it. Oh, it said something went wrong, so I lost it. Doggone it. Where is it over here at? There it is. It's amazing. Just hit it, man. Ah, you keep taking me here. I didn't ask you to take me nowhere. I'm just trying to. Let's see if I can copy it. Let's try that. Come on, bring it back. Let's see if we can copy the link. Where did it go? Hold on. All right. What? I know I'm typing. What are you doing? YouTube. It got a dot in the middle. Wait a minute. Hold on. Where's the dot at? In between the T and the B, put a dot there. YouTube. Okay, and then what? YouTube, and then slash. Okay. Q1K. 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 6K. Q1K. 6K. ZYA. 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 KSY. KSY. And go. Oh, come on, man. I went through that hard work for nothing. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Yeah, and you know you're wrong for that. tried to type it in, it still wouldn't come in. Can Nia, can you send it to the Hangout or through the email? Okay, so clear all the messages. All right. You say the mic volume seem to be low? Hello, hello, hello. Wait a minute. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. How you doing? How you doing? All right, I turned the mic volume up some. We actually went back from Dolby Atmos to Dolby Digital Plus, so we can get the record factor back. Without the record factor, I can't make no gifts. So we sacrificed the Dolby Atmos, and there is a volume difference. It is. It shouldn't be, but it is. All right, while we waiting for Nia to send that message. Pop the chat out and then do a refresh. You sure is moving slow today. All right. All right, this is our first story here. I didn't want it to be. That's what I came across. Can y'all see that on your screen? Yes, you can. Hey.
What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update and related news report. We have some new information from Joe Biden regarding the second stimulus check and what we're expecting this week for the next stimulus package. Also, I want to tell you guys about another state and local program, a new state that is giving out up to $5,000 of stimulus money to their residents. I'm going to tell you guys all about that. And my wife is going to be joining us for the last clue to what is in the box, the last clue tonight, and the winners will be announced tomorrow at 10 a.m. If you can guess what's in the box, you can receive money directly from us. I'm going to give you all the details of all that stuff in this video. But first, don't forget to give this video a like down below. It really helps out our channel. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. My wife and I do all the research for you regarding the second stimulus check from the federal government and the stimulus checks that are coming out from state and local programs. A lot of this money comes from the first stimulus package. That money went to states and cities, and they're now distributing it, or at least a lot of states and cities are, to their residents in the form of stimulus checks and checks for mortgage and rent assistance. Okay, first up, Joe Biden calls on Congress to pass a stimulus bill now before the end of the year. President-elect Joe Biden says lawmakers should immediately pass a new stimulus bill like the $2.2 trillion measure passed by the Democratic-led House before the election. He says, quote, right now, Congress should come together and pass a new relief package like the HEROES Act. Now, this comes as President Donald Trump speaking on his first time after the election regarding the next stimulus check and the next stimulus package, also pushed Congress to pass it now before the end of the year. This was good news because President Donald Trump showing his support to still pass a new stimulus package, even though he's not winning the election. The election hasn't quite been decided yet. They still have to officially declare a winner, and they're going through these lawsuits and everything. But this is good news that President Donald Trump still wants and will still approve a stimulus package if they can get it passed in Congress, and that he will sign it. A lot of people were worried that President Donald Trump might not approve a next stimulus package, that if Congress would approve it, that he might veto it. And this shows his renewed support that he still wants a stimulus package, and that even if he loses this election, he might run for a president election again in 2024. So as I said, I kind of seen this coming ahead of time, that I don't think there's any way that if they approve a stimulus package and send it to his desk, that he's going to say no and veto it. That would just tarnish his reputation. It would kill any chances that he would have going forward of being reelected again in 2024, or possibly even his son. There's been rumors of Donald Trump Jr. running for president in the future also. So this does show that President Donald Trump is for a stimulus package. Both Donald Trump and Joe Biden are both pushing Congress to get a stimulus deal done now. Now, Mitch McConnell, we're expecting to have a new stimulus bill from him this week. We're expecting it this week. We're also expecting it to mirror or be very similar to the HEALS Act of what he's had before several months ago. This is before he announced those skinny bills because he couldn't get a larger bill passed. They tried to do what's called piecemeal meals. They tried to do what's called piecemeal deals, where they were trying to get smaller stimulus packages because they couldn't get an agreement with the Democrats. So we're expecting Mitch McConnell to go back to his larger stimulus package of around $1 trillion, which was the HEALS Act. That did have $1,200 stimulus checks in there, and it also had an unemployment extension of $200 per week bonus on top of your state unemployment numbers. I'm personally expecting it now to be $300 per week, because in the bill since then, we've seen both Mitch McConnell and a separate bill from the White House include a unemployment extension of $300 per week. So I'm expecting a stimulus check of $1,200, checks for dependents of either $500 or $1,000, and I'm expecting an unemployment extension of $300 per week. I get a lot of questions saying, will it be retroactive? And yes, I expect it to be retroactive. I'm not sure how long. If I had to guess, I would say a month or two retroactive. I don't expect it to be more than 2 months retroactive. Again, something is better than nothing at this point. But pretty much all the bills that I've seen in the past with unemployment have had retroactive aspects of it. What does that mean? What does retroactive mean? It means that you'll get unemployment going forward. Let's just say it's $300 per week, but you would also get a month or two retroactive. So if it's 1 month retroactive, you get 4 weeks of that $300 per week. So when you get your first payment, it's likely that might be a 5 weeks payment in your first week, because you're getting retroactive of a month or possibly 2 months of retroactive. Nancy Pelosi has also been a big proponent of retroactive stimulus, she calls it. I haven't seen anything lately about stimulus checks being retroactive, but I have seen it on unemployment stimulus checks being Facebook shows.
Wasn't fast enough. I wasn't fast enough.
Retroactive. We've also seen Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi pushing to get a deal done now with the stimulus check and an unemployment extension, and then another one when the new Congress comes into office at the end of January 2021. So they're honestly trying to get a stimulus check done now, and they're trying to get a stimulus check done again at the end of 2021. We're expecting a bill this week from Mitch McConnell, which will tell us a lot of information on where we stand, what they can get passed, what they need to compromise, and if they can pass it now. Next up, I get a lot of people that are confused about what is going on with these state and local cities and counties stimulus plans. So let me try to explain it to you. I've been trying to, sorry, I got cat hair flying all around here. I've been trying, look, there's another. I'm trying to explain it as easy as possible, and I realize that not everybody catches every video, so trying to take that into consideration also. There's a lot of money that is left over from one of the CARES Act, or the CARES Act, I should say. There's been 4 different stimulus packages passed, but a lot of money is left over from those stimulus packages that went to state and local governments, states and cities and counties. And remember, we've seen Nancy Pelosi pushing for a lot of more money for states and cities. So in the end, some of that money might come back to the people, and we're seeing a lot of this now. Some of this money needs to be spent before the end of the year. So now all of a sudden, we've seen these in the past, and we haven't covered it a lot in the last month or two because there wasn't a lot of new programs that were out. They kind of finished them in the summer, and now they're realizing, we have to spend a lot of this money before the end of the year. It's likely we'll see money continue into next year, especially if they pass another package. But what's happening is these states and cities and counties have to use up some of this money before the end of the year. And what they're doing is they're giving money to their residents of their states, cities, and counties in the form of stimulus, either a direct stimulus check or a check for mortgage and rental assistance, which is basically the exact same thing. It's a check, and you use it for your rent, you use it for your I mean, they give you a check, so it doesn't really matter if they say it's for rent or if they say it's for stimulus. I mean, it's all pretty much the same thing. If you get a check for $2,000, a check is a check. So we're seeing a lot of states and cities pass these right now. It's very exciting news because I've had
all right, man, you put me to sleep. I did not mean to start with him. My apologies, y'all. All right, I sent these. All right, y'all, this is the first one from Nia.
A word of warning, this podcast explores graphic and disturbing stories and includes some strong language. It therefore may not be suitable for our young listeners or other folks who may find it disturbing. Hello and welcome to True Crime Daily, the podcast covering high-profile and under-the-radar cases from across the country every week. We are recording this on October 28th, 2020. I'm your host, Anna Garcia, and our co-host and guest today is Lonnie Coombs, who is a friend of the show and also is a former prosecutor in the LA District Attorney's Office, also a legal commentator. Welcome back, Lonnie. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Anna?
I'm well. I'm so happy that you're with us for this special episode because your expertise is what I'm so hungry for.
Okay, that's good.
Because this case doesn't make any sense to me, just legally, morally, of course not, but legally, I can't figure this one out. So I'm really looking forward to your comments on this. So we want to let everybody know that this is a special edition of True Crime Daily, the podcast. Today's show will be focused entirely on one case that you, our audience, felt so strongly about. In fact, you were so outraged about this case that you commented more on this than any other case. We got thousands of comments about this. And the best part is that this chorus of outrage, not only yours, but in the community where this happened, has really made things change, if you can believe it. We're just a little bit closer to justice, as I like to say, although it's partial justice. And again, because of the chorus of outrage. Okay, so we're talking about this horrendous case, which we have an update on, and it involves the rape of a 12-year-old Amish girl by her brothers in Missouri. This is just incredible, Lonnie. It is frightening, it is horrendous, it is so sad, it is tragic, and so many victims. So we covered this case, Lonnie, 4 weeks ago on October 2nd, and that episode, we reported that the two rapist brothers had gotten this sweetheart deal where literally they walked away without one day of prison time. And I want to remind everyone that when they raped this girl, she was 12, but she ended up getting pregnant, and she had a baby when she was 13. And there are a total of 4 brothers that were involved in the sexual assault, 2 minors who have not been charged, and then the 2 older brothers. I mean, I don't know what to say about this, Lonnie.
Well, and horrific as it is that she actually ended up getting pregnant, honestly, we might never have known about it if she hadn't gotten pregnant. If she hadn't gone to the doctor and the doctor realized that she was pregnant and asked her, because she's 12 years old, who have you been having sex with? What's going on here? That's how this came to light. And the doctor is the one who ended up calling the police. If she didn't have that baby in her tummy, who knows what would have happened to her? Who knows if this would have been continuing on for the rest of her life? We just don't know. And the fact that she was in a home where 4 brothers were all abusing her, it's like, what is going on in this home? Where are the parents? We don't even know who the father is because all 4 of them were having sex with her. And it's mind-boggling. And it's just, it makes you just want to pull this little girl into your arms and just say, you know, that's not what life is supposed to be, and protect her and save her. And yet, clearly that hasn't happened. But no, because she was pregnant, there was no denying it, right? I mean, nobody could say, oh no, she's just making it up. She's pregnant. She has a baby now. And so once it came to trying to figure out who it was and talking to the brothers, you know, they just said, yeah, we're the ones that were doing it. We've all been having sex with her.
Yes, the brothers did not deny it when the police came knocking. They admitted that they called it having sex. I'm sorry, I have to call this sexual assault or rape because a 12-year-old cannot consent. It doesn't work that way. A 12-year-old has no consent. I don't care whether you're Amish or you're not. It doesn't matter.
No matter what's going on in that home that may make it look like it's okay, it's not. That was clearly rape of this little girl over and over again.
They admitted, the 2 brothers admitted that it happened at least 6 times. At least.
Each of those brothers 6 times. And who knows, that's how many they confessed to, right? We don't know how many other times. And then what about the other 2 brothers, who we don't even know how old they were, but how many times were they raping her? The numbers boggle your mind.
It really does. It really does. And had there not been that hotline, like you said, that girl would never gotten any help. And that's going to be part of our conversation today is, has she received any help? Because she was placed back in the home. She was not removed. The baby was not removed. So if this were, Lonnie, if this were any other family, and especially a family of color, are you going to tell me that the results would have been the same, that the 2 assailants walk and that the girl goes home with her baby to the same parents that let this happen?
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting. There's so much focus on what's happening to the rapist. What's happening to the victim, right? What happened to the victim here? They just put her right back in the same situation. Who was looking out for her? Who was supposed to be looking out for her? You can't rely on the family in this situation, obviously, to look out for her. Someone else step in.
Absolutely. And so as part of this special program, we're going to look at what happened as a result of the first episode that we did a month ago, which is a lot happened. A lot happened because we had a co-host who you know, Luis Bolaños, who is a former homicide detective, and now he's a private investigator, and he uses a lot of his firm's time to do a lot of pro bono work. He was so outraged by this case, and the people in Missouri, in Seymour, Missouri, who were protesting because they were like, this cannot be happening. This is not justice. How is this girl being protected? Why aren't prosecutors coming down so much harsher on these 2 rapist brothers? So they've been out there protesting, and they felt like no one was hearing them, and we mentioned them, that they're out there, that there are people who think this is not okay. And so they emailed me, they reached out through True Crime Daily, Luis has gotten involved, so much has happened that we're going to update all of this. We're going to have Luis back on in a little bit. We're going to have who I call the agitator-in-chief there in Seymour, who's been rallying the troops on, as well as we're going to have 2 women who left the Amish community because they too were victims of this type of sexual abuse. It's horrific. So let's do a little bit deeper dive into the details of the case, the criminal case. and then we're going to bring everybody on, and we're going to go through this and figure out what happened when. So, 2 Amish brothers in Seymour, Missouri were arrested in June for raping their 12-year-old sister. Petey Schwartz, 18, Aaron Schwartz, 22. Each was charged with 6 counts of rape and 1 charge of incest. Now, what ends up happening is, they admit to it, right? Okay, they're headed to trial. And this is the part that's amazing. So September 8th, they're supposed to go into trial, but before then, they reach a plea agreement. Okay, plea agreements I know happen all the time. But this one, Lonnie, I want you to explain to me what could have possibly been in the minds of people to think this was okay. The 6 charges of rape were dropped to 2 counts of molestation, a suspended sentence of 15 years, meaning they were never going to go to prison, and they got 5 years probation. In addition to that, to the conditions of this plea deal, they were forbidden from having any contact with their little sister who they raped, the victim here. Absolutely no contact. And they had to register as sex offenders, and then they had to write a letter of apology to Seymour's Amish community about what they had done, plus 100 hours of community service. Of course the brothers took this deal. It was a sweetheart deal. Can you figure this out, Lonnie?
Okay, so when a deal is cut like this, you have all of this time hanging over their heads, right? They put 15 years, and it wasn't like it was going to go away. It was suspended. So essentially what they say is, look, this big, huge hammer can come down on you if you step out of line one bit. So we're putting 15 years of prison over your head. And if you don't follow every single probation condition that we lay out for you, you're going to prison for 15 years. There's no ifs, ands, or buts at that point. There's no negotiating. There's no pleading. There's no nothing. You're going to go to prison for 15 years. At least this is the way, if I set up a deal like this, I would do it. I wouldn't do it in this case, but there were cases where if you felt like the person deserved a second chance, you would set it up like this so that they knew if they stepped out of line even a little bit, boom, they're gone, right? So apparently that's what this prosecutor was thinking, because he said that. He went out to the media, and when people were upset, he said, look, they know that if they violate any terms of these conditions, that they're going to go to prison right away. And that's what's going to happen to them for 15 years. And it's going to be hard, he said, for them to follow these conditions. He seems more concerned about, that they do their community service, or that they do their sexual offender training that they had to go to. And the fact that the letter was to the Amish people, how about a letter to the victim? Yes. Yes, Lonnie. Why are we so concerned about the community in this situation? But nobody talked about the victim in this case. And when they talked about the probationary conditions, it wasn't even one of the ones that was listed, at least to the media, that they were supposed to stay away from the victim. We found out about that a little bit later, right, when something comes up. So that might be what was in the prosecutor's head. And then he did talk about it. He said, look, I have in the past come down hard on other people in the Amish community. There was a situation like this where it was the father abusing the daughter, and I put him in prison. But he considered this to be different because these were the brothers. And he sort of alludes, because he says they were not mature, he alludes to they might have issues, okay?
Lonnie, that's crazy. I don't buy that crap.
Right, but here's the thing. If he did truly believe that, maybe they have learning issues, or they're non-educated and they can't read and write, whatever, I don't know what's going on in their situation, then you do more work. You do risk assessment. You do a psychological examination. You do more to find out about that person to make sure that you are protecting the victim, right? Because if they do have those issues that might justify, a special kind of sentence, then you also have to do the extra work to make sure that those conditions are looked after and provided for, so that the victim isn't at risk to this situation, which did not happen in this case. So based on the prosecutor's own statements to the media, it sounds like he felt that these these men, one, were not mature. Maybe perhaps they didn't understand what they were really doing. I don't know. It sort of kind of alluded to that, and that they would be eaten up in prison. Well, that's not an excuse, right? That's not to put somebody in prison. So,
and that's their problem. I'm sorry. You commit the crime, those are going to be the real life consequences. Welcome to the real world. What I also don't understand about the prosecutor, and I appreciate you're giving us this insight because I'm not trying to beat him up, but I really do want to challenge him and his decisions. We have a right to do that. And the question for me is, he said several things like, even though they confessed, he said it would be very hard for me to get a harsher sentence. Do you think that's true?
Harsher than probation? No. I don't believe that at all. I think that if this had gone to trial, clearly it would have been a very easy verdict. I think you've got that she's pregnant, that she had a baby, and you have that they've confessed, right? So that's why they didn't want to go to trial, because there's really nothing to defend. I think that a judge looking at that would say they need to go to prison. Maybe not for the full length of time, but they need to be punished. And then they also need to, if they need the training or they need whatever else, do that too. But there also needs to be punishment so that they understand what they've done. If they didn't understand before, they're going to understand now that there are consequences to what they were doing.
To your point that maybe they didn't understand, apparently 3 days after they signed this agreement and went home, they violated the probation agreement because they saw their sister, the victim who they had raped. 3 days after this. So they get hauled back into court last week. They go before the judge, and they admit that they saw their sister, and get this, Lonnie, they said, oh, we didn't realize we weren't supposed to see her. Yeah. Give me a frickin' break. What the hell is going on here?
So it's interesting. So their probation officer, had a meeting with them because that's what they're supposed to do when they're on probation. And they said, where are you living and who's living there? And they go, oh, well, we're living in our house and our sister's there, essentially, right? And the probation officer's like, what are you thinking? That violates your probation. And the one brother, Aaron, said he thought that there were no restrictions. And the other brother, Petey, said, the court, well, Ben, that's the prosecutor's name, by the way, Ben said he doesn't have any restrictions, so that's what we got from the court. I find that very interesting. One, that they didn't understand that they had restrictions, and two, that one of the brothers is actually referring to the prosecutor as his first name. He's not talking about his attorney telling them what they should or shouldn't have done. They're talking about the prosecutor, and they both came away with the belief or understanding that there were no restrictions on them. So one, the sentence is outrageous, but two, the fact that no one really sat down apparently with these two men and explained to them exactly what they were supposed to be doing is egregious. It's really unconscionable.
And the judge agreed. The same judge who approved the sweetheart plea deal said, that's it. You two, you're going straight to prison. And they were walked out the back of that courthouse and into patrol cars, and they are behind bars right now. So it's almost as if finally there is justice. But I don't think these two were ever going to get it. And putting them back in the community, frankly, that put everyone at risk.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and to your point you said at the beginning, I think a lot of it has to do with the way the community responded to this. When both the prosecutor and the judge saw, oh my goodness, look at the outrage. Look what everybody's saying and thinking about this. When they saw that chance, when they heard that there was a violation, boy, they both jumped on it right away. And they're in prison now.
It's almost as if from their perspective, they've taken care of the problem. But I'm going to argue that they haven't, because there's still that girl who is in this environment that we don't know that she's safe. Okay, so...
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
The two other brothers might still be there. The other one, she was being abused by 4, not just her prison. Yeah.
Well, of course the minor brothers are there. They're minors. Yeah. Okay. We're going to discuss more of this now with people who are there on the ground dealing with this, and also with Luis Bolaños, who has now gotten involved and is advocating and assisting the group in Seymour. So before any of us had heard about this case, there were people demonstrating outside the courtroom because they were so upset. So we're going to now bring in two guests who really have had a pivotal role in changing the course of events in Seymour. So joining us now is Luis Bolaños, who's a former homicide detective, a friend of the show, and he has his own private investigation agency, and he does a lot of pro bono work, and Luis is now officially working with all the people in Seymour on this case. which is fascinating. And that all happened from the podcast. So we're really excited that Lewis is here. Also, you're going to see two warriors over there. And these are the true rock stars, because you are the people who inspire me about what it is that we do and about changing things and voices being heard. You have Tiffany Hill and Mel Pleasant from the Child Advocacy Against Pedophilia, also referred to as CAP. You two are like the local activists in chief. You got together, Tiffany and Mel, and you made these homemade signs, which we're going to show because you were kind enough to send us your videos and your photos. And you were standing out on the street outside the courthouse before anybody else was talking about this case. And I was so impressed by you that after our podcast aired a month ago, you all reached out to me. Tiffany, you, Lewis, and I got on the phone the very next day to talk about what we can do and how we can help you. Mel reached out on social media. First of all, how do you feel that you accomplished something and got some justice here, because those two brothers are behind bars now?
They are, but justice is not completely served yet.
Tell me what needs to be done.
Well, in my opinion, I think there's, some juvenile charges that need to be brought upon. The parents need to be investigated, much less charged. There's still minor children in the home. Why is that?
Exactly. Mel, did you feel that your voices were being heard, that you were going to ever get justice? I mean, I know you were all devastated when the two brothers walked, and nobody else would be treated that way.
Exactly. It was just a freak thing that if that was to happen to me, DHS would have been there, taking my children, and not giving me a chance to speak. But when you look at the Amish case, it was pretty much open and shut until we came in. And we were just angry for this little girl who had no justice.
Did you feel that you had support there in Seymour when you first started this, before the chorus around the country and the world chimed in?
When we first started it, we started a small Facebook group, and it kind of blew up overnight. So we noticed right then that those citizens were just as angry as we are, but that's a town that is very involved in knowing who you are and caring who you are, and we just kind of busted that down, because we don't care who knows who when there's an injustice like this.
I'm going to get to Lewis in a second, but Lonnie, I want to ask you, as a former prosecutor, how valuable are their voices really? They may not feel like it in the moment, but when they get so loud, does that affect things?
Oh, it does. Believe me, the prosecutors and the judges, they all have ears. They all know, that the public has a very strong opinion like that. And I truly believe that the reason they moved so quickly on this probation violation was because of the outcry that they knew was going on from the public.
Lewis, you got involved right after we did that podcast. You and I are on the phone, and we're like, we got to do something. And we hadn't even met Tiffany and Mel yet. And Lewis, in typical style, dives right in, and now he has an official function working with all of you. Lewis, what have you uncovered in these few weeks since you got involved?
A tsunami of sexual assaults toward children. It is incredible. And again, the voice, the movement that Tiffany and Mel both started, I had no idea anything like this was even possible. Being involved with other investigations where you're facing organizations like Fox or Weinstein, Bill Cosby, where they're protected because of folks are worried about coming forward and speaking the truth. This puts those cases to shame, and we've seen more than our share in those type of investigations. early on when we first did this podcast, and the only people I saw online who were addressing these issues and trying to protect Daisy was Melanie and Tiffany. They're the only ones out there that I saw that had any voice whatsoever. And it was a small one at that point, but it was big enough that it got our attention. The movement that's happened in the last 2-3 weeks is just phenomenal. Tiffany and Mel have put me in touch with other victims, people who have lived within the Amish communities that we're talking about, who would tell you straight up, this is a past and current practice, and nothing is going to change unless the environment changes within the Amish walls and within the justice system outside the walls. It's almost accepted to the point where it feels as if these behaviors are condoned. Sounds disgusting, but that's how I feel.
Oh, I agree with you. Now, you referred to someone as Daisy. For those who don't know, you all decided, Lewis and the team there in Seymour decided you wanted to give this victim a name. So now, and you have posters out because you've set up a hotline where people can call if they need help or they want to report something or they need to vent, whatever. And it's we're going to put that up and the phone number, but it's a little silhouette of a girl. And you've named her Daisy because we don't know her name. She is a victim of sexual assault, and she's a minor, so her identity is protected. Why'd you name her Daisy?
Thank you for asking that. So, Daisy was a victim of a horrible sexual assault in high school about 8 years ago. Her story came across us, our purview, and we jumped in to help and do everything we can to get those responsible for that assault and the ongoing bullying by her community and by the suspects, bring that to a halt. Her story ended up being told in a Netflix documentary called Audrey and Daisy. Daisy was probably the most powerful name in this community that had a lot of national and international recognition in the circles that we find. And every time I had a victim come forward who was on the fence of whether or not they wanted to go forward, if they felt that law enforcement wasn't giving their case the attention it deserved, or they were being bullying online or in person, but something that caught our attention where normally things that should happen weren't happening, she was one of my first calls, and she helped bring peace and calm and other cases to closure by speaking to these victims. After 10 years of this battle that Daisy had, she took her life about 3 weeks ago. So in our world, Daisy is a very big, powerful name. So I contacted Daisy's parents, her mom, and her brother, and to see if it was okay if we could use her name to represent this child, to humanize this child, because I found myself guilty of that, of calling her the 12-year-old victim. It seems sterile and cold. So we changed her name to Daisy, and there's a meaning behind it, and I couldn't think of a better choice.
Yeah, and I'm sure, Lonnie, you're very familiar with that case because of all of the work that you do. Oh, my goodness. I want to play some clips right now that you all sent us. All of the folks who you work with there in Seymour stood outside the courthouse with these posters, and you all recorded messages for Daisy. We're going to play some for you now.
My name is Melissa Anderson. I'm here to be the voice and to stand up for Daisy. We are here with you, and we have your back, honey. God be with you, and hopefully we'll see justice. It's Tiffany, and I'm here to support Daisy. We love you, and we support you, and we are pulling for you. Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm here to support Daisy. We got your back. Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm just here to support Daisy. Here to get us some justice. Daisy, we love you for your voice, and we will get you justice, baby.
I hope someday she gets a chance to hear your messages, and hopefully this message is carried to her, even though she's in a really insulated community. Now, as far as we all know, the girl is still with the family and the 2 minor brothers who abused her. So, the
alrighty, y'all. This thing is too long. We're gonna get flagged. Let's get to Naya's next story. I went and made something to eat, y'all. So I appreciate the ladies for keeping y'all entertained.
Tonight here on our News at 9, some Webster County residents are calling for their prosecutor's resignation following a rape case in an Amish community in Seymour. Good evening once again to you. Thanks for joining me here at 9. I'm David Oliver. Ben Bergstresser sentenced Aaron and Petey Schwartz to 5 years probation after pleading guilty to raping a 12-year-old relative. Well, a protest is set to happen at the Webster County Courthouse tomorrow. Keller 10's Bailey Stroll is up first tonight. She joins us after speaking with the protest organizers. What'd you learn, Bailey?
Well, David, the protest comes just days after Prosecutor Bergstresser filed a motion to have the brothers' probation revoked, claiming they violated the requirement. Still, organizers Tiffany Hill and Mel Pleasant say they want to make a change.
No matter what way you put it, no matter what way you look at it, his verdict was wrong.
And somebody has to stand up and say that it has to stop.
Dozens of people in Webster County have taken to social media to share outrage over the sentencing of Aaron and Petey Schwartz. The two were convicted of child molestation and received 5 years probation. Now Tiffany Hill and Mel Pleasant want Webster County Prosecutor Ben Bergstresser to resign or be removed from his position. The two recently created an organization called CAP, or Child Advocacy Against Pedophilia, hoping to give a voice to victims of sexual abuse in the Amish community.
Our first area of business is to bring awareness. The second is to speak on the victims and what they have been through and what they are continuing to go through. And then our third would be repercussions for, the prosecuting attorney and the judge for licensing.
But the brothers, who did admit to raping their 12-year-old relative, may still end up behind bars. Last week, Prosecutor Bergstresser filed a motion to have Aaron and Petey Schwartz's probations revoked, claiming the brothers had contact with the victim after they were convicted. It's something that's prohibited under their sex offender supervision agreement. Hill and Pleasant say Bergstresser and Judge Michael O. Hendrickson are responsible by allowing the two brothers to return to their family home.
Why would you send them back to the same house in the first place? Obviously, that's going to initiate contact.
Well, there's still a lot of questions that need answered in this case, but court documents show that Petey and Aaron Schwartz could serve up to 15 years in prison if their probation is ended up revoked. A hearing on that issue is scheduled for October 6th. Now, I also reached out to Prosecutor Bergstresser and Schwartz's attorney, but have not received a response.
Well,
everyone's saying. Lines for the free food in Texas. Wait a minute, why am I not saying it? Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to find where we start at. Okay, that's a face mask, okay? Okay. Alright, it's in here somewhere. Let's just start. Here we go, y'all. Start with it. The sound.
Well, right now we are seeing some surveillance video after a man opened fire inside a restaurant. This happened over the weekend. And 2 customers were shot.
Local 10 News reporter Madeline Wright is live at the scene, and she tells us how the restaurant owner jumped into action to take down the gunman. Janice and Christy, the restaurant owner jumped into action. He risked his life by confronting the gunman right here at this Dominican restaurant. The gunman walked right through those doors and opened fire while customers were inside. A Dominican restaurant owner is being hailed a hero for jumping out of his seat and tackling a gunman who started shooting inside his business. It happened at Gran Parada on Northwest 10th Avenue near Northwest 119th Street. Maciel de Jesus Perez is the restaurant owner's wife.
Gracias a Dios, mi esposo estaba ahí.
Thank God my husband was there, she says. Watch as the gunman came inside around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon and appeared to be dancing to the music. About 2 minutes later, in a horrifying move, he pulled out a long gun and opened fire, hitting the ceiling, according to the owner's wife. The restaurant owner and gunman scuffled outside, the gunman punching him repeatedly. At some point during the fight, the gun went off. One customer was shot in the ankle. Another customer grazed by a bullet.
Pudo quitar lo que tenía el arma y eso.
No,
My husband was able to take his gun, the owner's wife says. The police arrived later. The restaurant owner was taken to the hospital with injuries to his head and hands from the tussle. The 2 wounded customers were also taken to the hospital.
All right, I see you
At
later.
last check, they were in stable condition. De Jesus Perez says the restaurant has been in business for 30 years, and her husband always looks out for his customers.
Inmediatamente reaccionó.
He immediately reacted, she says, taking the person outside the business so that everyone would be safe. Back live at the shopping plaza, detectives were going door to door looking for surveillance videos that could help lead them to the gunman who ran away after the shooting. If you have any information on who or where he is, call Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. Live in Northwest Miami-Dade, Madeline Wright, Local 10 News.
Nobody else did anything. That's a damn shame. Nobody else did nothing. They did nothing. All right, this is from Chung Lee. Please be a video. Oh, Lord. Where is it? Come on.
Today, people waiting for food. They were waiting and waiting and waiting, so many thousands and thousands. Look at all those cars just waiting to get some free food because they're struggling right now. Millions of Americans, and they're suffering financially. We see no stimulus deal in the works right now. Why is that? Why can't Republicans and Democrats realize, as I've often said, you know what? You can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. You got to help these people. You got to pass this legislation right away.
You and I were both afraid of this very scenario, Wolf, which is we're in a lame duck session, and it's harder to get big bills passed when some members of Congress are literally packing their bags. They're in their offices, like trying to sort out their affairs because they're going to be leaving in the next number of days or weeks. But that should not impede Congress because at this point, the issues are so well known. They've been negotiating over them for months. Chuck Schumer came out and said, please, Mitch, let's pass a bill. Outgoing former President Trump tweeted that he wanted to see a bill. So at this point, it really is mystifying why they can't get a deal hammered out between Speaker Pelosi and Mitch McConnell because the parameters have been so well defined. They've been negotiating, in theory, for months.
It don't make no sense that they don't care. No matter how you slice it, they just don't care. They don't care about them people suffering. All right, let's get to the next one.
The News4JAX I-Team continues to dig into testimony last week at the South Georgia bond hearing for Gregory and Travis McMichael, who are awaiting trial on murder charges in the shotgun killing of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery. A video of the shooting sparked nationwide outrage. The judge refused to grant the McMichaels bail. I-Team investigator Kelly Wiley tells us the judge also expressed concern about possible obstruction of justice and statements from a witness he found indefensible.
Let's start with the voicemail Greg McMichael left for the current district attorney, Jackie Johnson. Johnson is his former boss. He worked in her office for more than 20 years as her investigator, but the deadly shooting was in her jurisdiction at the time. State prosecutor Jesse Evans played the voicemail in court to show Greg McMichael was a risk to intimidate or obstruct justice if he was allowed to bail out of jail.
Jackie, this is Greg. Did you call me as soon as you possibly can? My friend and I have been involved in the shooting, and I need some advice right away.
The state said they were not suggesting the district attorney help McMichael or called him back. Johnson recused herself from the case 3 days after the shooting. Judge Timothy Walmsley expressed concern over the voicemail.
Josh is still working on this and possibly one of the reasons why this case took so long to get to where it's right now.
GBI investigator Richard Dial testified Arbery was running away from the McMichaels and their neighbor for up to 4 minutes before the shooting. But new photos presented in court show other homes in the Satilla Shores neighborhood were damaged too during the shooting. Number 3, witnesses for Travis and Greg McMichael. During the hearing, Greg McMichael's wife and Travis's mother took the stand. So did Greg McMichael's doctor and a slew of Travis's longtime friends. Several of the witnesses say they would be willing to put up their own property as collateral for bond for the former Coast Guard member and father. But the state had questions for one of Travis's longtime friends.
Do you recall that text exchange between you and defendant Travis McMichael in which he was talking about shooting a black with gold teeth that had a high point 45?
He was referring to a raccoon.
The next day, Judge Walmsley said he was concerned testimony from the witnesses was biased.
I have to comment on the record. What I found to be absolutely indefensible explanation from one of the witnesses.
We're breaking down more of this hearing, including why defense attorneys for the McMichaels say this case has nothing to do with race. That's coming up at 10 p.m.
We got to find that. I'd love to see that. How the hell? Nothing to do with race. You chasing a young black man who you know he got to come back up. Why are you chasing him? Unless he's going to jump in the swamp with the alligators. Where is he going? You know he got to come back. Why are you chasing him? 1. 2, he ain't got nothing. He in a t-shirt and a pair of shorts, socks and tennis shoes. What is he stealing? What are you protecting? What do you think? You think he got the water heater in his shorts? He got the furnace in his shorts? Those of y'all that watch the Shay Show, do he got the radiators down his t-shirt? What could he steal? What could the young man steal? That make it sound like this man just robbed the bank. And he got $1 million worth of gold on him. We got to get that gold back. We got to get him. You chasing a young man knowing he got to come back up. That's why they kept running around in circles and he couldn't get out. You know how cruel that is when you keep running somebody in a circle? Well, he can't go nowhere. He ain't gonna jump in there with them alligators. He'll be alligator meat. And before I got the facts, I was actually kind of siding with the father and son. But then as we got more facts in, and I realized that facts were being held, and we found out that the guy Roddy, he literally almost ran the boy over with his truck. He forced Ahmed back toward the McMichaels. Fibers from his shirt, his fingerprints and a dent was on Roddy's truck. He hit him that hard with the truck they left a dent. But I ain't got nothing to do with it. I was just filming. Yeah, whatever. I can't wait for this trial to come up. We gonna be on it like a New Orleans Hornet. We gonna be on this. But they gonna try and get their way out. I don't know how they gonna do it. This case is ironclad. There's no reason for them to have hunted that young man down, especially when he had nowhere to go. Plus, he was going to jump in the water with the crocodiles. We don't even know if he could swim. Where was he going to go? And what did he have that was so valuable? He didn't have nothing. I can see if he stole somebody's jewelry. That was my great-grandma's brooch. Been in the family for 200 years. It's worth about $400,000. But we got to get that brooch back. That's a family something. He didn't have nothing. What were you chasing him for? Let the young man finish his job. He ain't bothering nobody. I'm just saying. Well, he shouldn't have been jogging in that white neighborhood. If he stayed in the black neighborhood, he'd been all right. Should have went in the Korean neighborhood and jogged. Shouldn't have came in our neighborhood. Like, honey, we pay good money. And we don't expect nobody of color to come over here. Stay on that side of the bridge, all right? We pay extra money to stay over here. Then get a drawbridge. And when you want to cross it, have a special code to lower the drawbridge, and then you ride across it and go about your business. That's what you want to do. Block yourself off. Which is what I keep telling y'all about how we United States. A young man should be able to jog down the street no matter where it is. It's an American street. That's not a private street. Why can't he jog down the street? What business of it is? He didn't go on to McMichael's property. What reason did they have to stop this young man? Other than they wanted to know why was a black man in that neighborhood. And why did you stop by that house? It's none of their business. The owner of the house can ask that. A police officer who observed it can ask that. But who are these two men to ask another person, what are you doing? It's none of your business. None of your business. So you decided to take the law into your own hands. Well, why are you asking to be bonded out of jail? You took the law into your own hands, so that means you willing to deal with the consequences, right? If you're willing to deal with the consequences, then why are you asking to be on bond? You might as well get used to going to jail and get used to the jail because you won't be there for a while. And when they put you in the real penitentiary, they put you in Gen Pop, y'all in trouble. If they put you in Gen Pop, you in trouble. You better go there and you better hurry up and join one of them gangs. You better join the Aryan Brotherhood. You better try to join MS-13. You better go join the snitches for the COs, you better join some kind of gang. Because they're going to be whooping y'all butt every day up in that penitentiary. And y'all know I'm telling the truth. They're going to get whooped every day up in that penitentiary. And don't be surprised to see them found hanging somewhere in the shower or in that cell. Don't be surprised. Because when you do something heinous like that, people take notice. Because even the criminals know that's foul. Now, I hate to prophesy something like that, but it's possible. And hold me to my words.
Introducing.
I hate these kind of videos. They make you watch the whole daggone video. I hate that.
In pushing forward with the business of becoming the next commander-in-chief, despite the Trump administration's roadblock.
What do you see as the biggest threat to your transition right now, given President Trump's unprecedented attempt to obstruct and delay a smooth transfer of power?
More people may die if we don't coordinate. If we have to wait until January 20th to start that planning, it puts us behind over a month and a half.
But so long as the president refuses to concede, the Biden transition team is shut out of the current administration's pandemic planning. Pressure now building inside the Trump administration for a smooth handoff. From Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Obviously, it's something that we're concerned about, as I use the metaphor, essentially passing a baton without stopping running.
And from Dr. Moncef Slaoui, who leads the Trump administration's vaccine effort.
Our focus to make sure that we're going to save people's life, and anything that may slow that process or create any disruption is something that worries us appropriately.
Former First Lady Michelle Obama calling out the outgoing president in a lengthy Instagram post, writing in part, "This isn't a game, so I want to urge all Americans, especially our nation's leaders, regardless of party, to honor the electoral process and do your part to encourage a smooth transition of power." And NBC News has learned tonight that Congressman Cedric Richmond is joining the Biden administration in a senior role, described as a Valerie Jarrett type position, referring to one of President Obama's top aides.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button.
I want y'all to notice something. We haven't checked the stats yet for the deaths today. But each day that Trump don't concede, that's another 500 to 1,000 deaths on his record. Hope he realized that when he run in 2024. Can y'all see it? Yes, you can.
President Trump and his campaign after the election. What are judges saying about them? Tonight, from Michigan to Pennsylvania to Nevada, the judges have been clear, and the messages and emails sent out to the president's supporters saying we're closer than ever and it's happening. Where is that money going? Here's Terry Moran.
For all the sound and fury on Twitter and TV from President Trump and his allies about election fraud,
Then we have proof that I can't disclose yet.
He's a joke.
courts where evidence gets scrutinized, authenticated, and tested, they're getting hammered. More than 24 cases have been brought, and no finding of fraud from any judge, state or federal, Republican or Democratic. Case after case tossed out, and the judges strikingly dismissive of the claims. In Michigan, Republicans claimed they had evidence the count should be stopped. The judge wasn't having it.
I heard somebody else say something. Tell me why that's not hearsay. Come on now.
In Nevada, Republican lawyers claimed their observers weren't close enough. The judge snapped, "At what point does this get ridiculous?" In Pennsylvania, Trump's lawyers claimed their observers were being blocked, then admitted they were in the room. The judge, a Republican appointee, firing back, "I'm sorry, then what's your problem?" Still, the Trump campaign is bombarding supporters, sending hundreds of emails looking for money, claiming progress. This election is far from over. We're gaining momentum. We're closer than ever. It's happening. But a chunk of that money went to retire the president's campaign debt, and now the fine print reads that 60% of each contribution first to Save America. That's Trump's own new political action committee.
And Terry Moran with us live tonight as well. And Terry, as the president fights in court, he's also refusing to begin any transition work, as we reported earlier here. And tonight, ABC was also learning that the head of the General Services Administration, a Trump appointee, she would be the one to actually get the ball rolling on any transition. There's news on her tonight?
There is, David. Emily Murphy is the head of the GSA, charged by federal law with pulling the trigger to start the transition, and she won't do it, apparently, because of these court cases. But we have learned that she is making inquiries about employment outside the government in 2021. So either she's hedging her bets or she can count. David?
All right, Terry Moran tonight. Terry, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel.
I hate that. All right, y'all. Y'all see the man won't let it go. He don't realize. The longer he keeps the Biden team from getting in there, it's going to slow down the passing out of the vaccine when they're available. Maybe that's what Trump wants. But the fact of the matter that he can't get a stimulus bill paid, but yet he asking his followers to give him money. Give you money for what? You lost. What do you need money for? He lost. What are you paying for? The election is over. What are you donating to him for? He's supposed to be rich. Why are you donating to a rich man? He should be giving you money. He should be helping you put food on your table. You voted for him. He can't even get you a stimulus package. He can't get you the unemployment to get you through the daggone year. He can't offer rent relief. He's asking you for money at a time when Americans need to receive money. But you vote for this idiot. Somebody please make it make sense. Make it make sense. He's asking you for money when you waiting for the government to give you some money. But he controls the government. Somebody talk to me. Now he said she had to step away for a few. I hope I'm keeping these in line. So the same thing for you. Oh, you snuck me.
The worst place in the country for coronavirus this morning is South Dakota. It's experiencing record cases, deaths, and hospital levels. The positivity rate there is the highest in the nation at almost 60%. The state has taken a hands-off approach.
Now I want to pause for a second, y'all. Because I got to say something. South Dakota. Y'all know that when we do the countdown of the states, I always single out South Dakota. I don't call it South Dakota. I call it South Dakota. You know why I call it South Dakota? Because some told me that South Dakota was going to be the high spot. And there you are. That's why I single it out. I don't single out North Dakota. I single out South Dakota.
Public health protocols recommended by the CDC. Back in July, President Trump hosted an Independence Day celebration, as you can see on your screen. This was in a packed amphitheater at Mount Rushmore. A month later, nearly 500,000 bikers flooded into the town of Sturgis for an annual motorcycle rally. South Dakota's Republican Governor, Kristi Noem, supported both events and refuses to issue public safety directives such as wearing masks. Here's what she said a couple of weeks ago at a Trump rally.
The only reason
you know who I am today is because the liberals have been busy kicking me in the head for all the decisions I've made for my people in South Dakota.
Yeah, they don't.
But let me tell you, my people are happy. They're happy because they're free.
We invited Governor Noem to join us this morning, but she declined. But here to describe what she's seeing on the front lines in South Dakota is Jody Doring. She's a registered nurse who has called the coronavirus crisis in her state, quote, a horror movie that never ends.
I want to pause for a second. See, this is the beauty of watching this with me. You get my expert commentary. Look, y'all. This is the me generation. This is the I feel. This is the I think. 60% of the people being tested in South Dakota are corona infected. You know this, and you still got the gall to come out and say, hey, my people are happy because they get to do what they want. They walking around infected. They laying up in a hospital. Who's happy to be in a hospital? Who's happy to be looking at that ventilator wondering, am I going on it? Where does this dumb thinking come from? That's why I tell you, when somebody tell you I think, or somebody tell you I feel, walk away from them. Because that's where it gets you. You're going to be sitting in a hospital room looking at that ventilator and praying you don't get put in that wing. You're going to be praying you don't get put in the ventilator. No, don't put me on the ventilator. No, I'm okay. Hold on. No, don't put me on the ventilator. No. But you're going to be happy. According to this lady, ain't you happy? You're going on the ventilator. Only 17% of the people survived the ventilator. But aren't you happy? You ain't had to wear no mask. Ain't you happy? Ain't you happy to get on Trump's death machine? Ain't you happy? Sheesh.
Nurse Doring, thank you so much for being here.
Somebody says idiot.
Some of your tweets. My jaw dropped. You said that even now, that the hospital is being overrun with COVID patients. They come in, they're horribly ill, they're gasping for breath, and yet they don't believe they have COVID?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing to watch is that people are still looking for something else, and they want a magic answer, and they don't want to believe that COVID is real. And the reason I tweeted what I did is it wasn't one particular patient, it's just a culmination of so many people, and their last dying words are, this can't be happening, it's not real. And when they should be spending time FaceTiming their families, they're filled with anger and hatred, and it just made me really sad the other night. And I just can't believe that those are going to be their last thoughts and words.
Anger and hatred towards you?
I think it's just a belief that it's not real, and nursing happens to be on the receiving end of that. And that's okay. We can take that. That's what you're there for. It's just in the bigger picture when you try to reason with people of, can I call your family, your kids, your wife, your friend, your brother? And they say no because I'm going to be fine. And you're watching their oxygen levels, maxed out on what we call vapotherm at 100%. Their oxygen level might be 75. That's not really that compatible with life, and we know where that's going to head. And it just makes you sad and mad and frustrated, and then you know that you're just going to come back and do it all over again. And that's kind of where that stems from.
How could it not make your own head explode? They're gasping for breath. Their oxygen levels are dropping. What do they think is wrong with them?
I think people look for anything. People want it to be influenza. They want it to be pneumonia. They want it to be, we've even had people say, well, I think maybe it might be lung cancer. Something so far-fetched. And the reality is, since day one, when COVID started in this area in March, you've kind of been able to say, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. Like, I hate to tell you that you have COVID, but that's what you have.
you know, even after positive results come back, some people just don't believe it. Now, that's not everybody. We have a lot of patients who are very, very grateful for their care and very thankful for what you do, but unfortunately, that's not what I'm remembering right now. And as my nursing career, that's not what I want to be remembering for. I want to remember the safe and the happy situations, and what I was remembering chilling on the couch the other night with my dog was not that.
Of course not. I mean, of course not. And it's just so mind-blowing to think that they would rather have lung cancer. They'd rather a diagnosis of lung cancer than of coronavirus. And so, I mean, you've said that it just, I mean, if I quote you from morning television, it's an effing horror movie that you live every day. And so what toll is this taking on you?
Yeah, hindsight, I didn't realize that this was going to go viral. I probably could have left the F-bomb out of there, but the reality is that's how you feel. And so it is like it's just a movie where the credits never roll. You just do it all over again. And it's hard and sad because every hospital, every nurse, every doctor in this state is seeing the same thing. These people get sick in the same way. You treat them in the same way. They die in the same way, and then you do it over again. And we're so thankful for the lessons we've learned along the way, and we're doing a good job of taking care of the people that come in. And we're managing our patient loads here right now. Sometimes it's day to day, sometimes it's hour to hour. But the reality is that right now it's not getting better. You said just as you started the show, 50 to 60% positivity rate. I mean, our entire state has 880,000 people. It doesn't take much to do the math on that for how many of us are sick.
Oh my gosh. When you hear your governor, Kristi Noem, say, my people are happy. They're happy because they're free. What's your response?
I think it's frustrating as a healthcare provider because the last thing that we ask anyone when they seek care is how they voted or if they're a Democrat or Republican. The last thing we ever think about is that. What we think about is how can I help you? And so anybody that uses any chance to make this political makes any healthcare provider want to scream, because at the end of the day, we just want to help. And if we don't get some help from the public as far as mask wearing and social distancing, there's a thing on the internet right now that says I'm not your first line of defense, I'm your last. And that actually is true in South Dakota, that by the time you get to me and the team that we work with, it might be too late for some, and that is heartbreaking, because the reality is we're a small state. The town I live in has 650 people, and we have 680 deaths right now. I mean, that's my entire town wiped off the map. We know these people. We go to school with them, church, grocery stores, every small town story you've ever heard.
But just so I understand, Nurse Doreen, you have more deaths than you have people in your town.
Yeah, in the state of South Dakota, I haven't looked in the last few hours. I think we had 683, and don't quote me on that, but the town I live in has 650 people. So when you put in perspective, and people listen to me talk about this for the last 9 months, that's every single person in our town gone. That's pretty mind-blowing. If we had a tornado that came through and killed 20 people, we would stop and look, and the national news would be there. And so the fact that we have this many deaths in a town or in a state this size is mind-blowing to me, and it's not currently getting better.
Nurse Jody Doering, thank you very much for sounding the alarm. Thank you for all that you do for your patients, even when they scream at you.
So you see somebody on the front line. Where is the money for nurses and doctors like this that's on the front line? Where is the money? It was in the act in May. We in November. We haven't got them no money. But y'all want to vote on Donald Trump. I don't get it. That should be the last name that come out your mouth. I hope this ain't the same video. Is it the same video? Hit the mute button.
Couldn't help but finally face the truth. He lost, and Biden won in the general election. And he admitted as much in a tweet where he wrote,
He won because the election was rigged. No vote watchers or observers allowed, vote tabulated by a radical left, blah, 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 more unfounded lies about voter fraud and nonsense. But the point here is he admitted that Biden won. Now later he ended up backpedaling a little bit, arguing, by the way, this morning that he won the election in all caps. But Trump also later said that Biden only won in the eyes of the fake news media, but in reality, an increasing number of GOP lawmakers are speaking out and saying, no, it's not looking good. Biden won. Sorry. Now, meanwhile, federal judges are growing increasingly frustrated with the Trump campaign and the frivolous lawsuits that they've been filing in key battleground states. So, for instance, who wouldn't be frustrated if you're hearing a case that's being represented by someone who sounds like this?
You start doing ballots like this.
So there's Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump's personal lawyer, who is not getting paid for his services, which makes it more clear that this is more of a PR stunt and a grift by Donald Trump and his campaign. But nonetheless, let me give you some specific examples of specific judges, I should say, who have grown incredibly frustrated with these cases because the Trump campaign has failed to provide any evidence of voter fraud. So it's one thing to file a lawsuit, but you have to provide evidence for what you're alleging in your lawsuit. And again, his campaign has failed to do that. So in Clark County, Nevada, for instance, the Trump camp complained that poll observers weren't close enough to monitor what poll workers were doing. But the U.S. District Judge Andrew Gordon wasn't having any of that argument. He responded to that lawsuit by saying, at what point does this get ridiculous? I think we're already there. We're already there. And by the way, Trump has yet to provide any real evidence, providing that there's widespread voter fraud. That's the main allegation that we're hearing from the Trump campaign. And according to ABC News, judge after judge after judge has asked, in essence, where's the beef? We have seen numerous instances where affidavits have been filed only to be immediately pulled back once tested in state and federal court. I would not be surprised that if these baseless allegations continue, judges will begin to threaten and indeed issue sanctions. And that is a statement from Carl Racine, the Attorney General for the District of Columbia.
So first of all, I love the panic of Trump in the morning. So he accidentally concedes and he screams, I won the election. You can almost hear him crying through the tweet. I sense tears dropping onto the phone as he was tweeting it. And now it's gotten to absolute desperation. So they're in such bad shape. Trump at one point was like, Judge, those are not lawsuits. What do you mean they're not your lawsuits? That's insane. Of course they're your lawsuits. He said, well, there's a couple other ones too. Yeah, they also lost. They were your supporters, but you have definitely filed lawsuits, and you have definitely lost them, nearly all of them. 18 filed in all, 16 are already lost, 2 are not perfectly resolved yet, but emphatically on the way to a loss. We'll give you more details on that in a second. In Pennsylvania, they had to withdraw one of the cases. Why? Because they were about to file and say, oh, we didn't have observers in the room when they counted the 682,000 ballots, et cetera. Then they realized they just can't say it. It's a lie. They've already been, chastised by a judge earlier in a case to not lie about that. So they just withdrew it. They're like, okay, because Trump is used to nothing but PR battles. And so he views everything as, I just lie my way out of this. And losing is winning. Remember, he said when he was bankrupt on 6 different occasions, he told people, oh no, that's really good business. And they believed it. And then people gave him more money and more money. After the first one, second one, third one, all the way through the 6th one, they kept giving him more money. Because marketing does work. It really, in a lot of ways, it brainwashes people. So he convinced half the country that losing all your money was good business. So now, in this case, he's thinking, oh, I'm just going to call the loss a win, and I'll just get everybody to believe it again. His problem with that is that you have to go to courts to actually have those decisions overturned, the decision of the American people, state by state, right? And when they go to courts, they're getting laughed or yelled out of court in ways that are unprecedented. I'll give you one expert here, and then I want to go back to the judges. Wendy Weiser is the director of Bipartisan Law and Public Policy Institute at the Brennan Center for Justice. we've interviewed them on this topic before. She said, when you go to court, quote, you are required to have some basis for believing
y'all lay down for a second.
True. It has to be some basis in fact, not just wild speculation. And the bar isn't even that high. To not meet it is very unusual and inappropriate. So the one thing judges don't like is you wasting their time. And so when you but they're like, look, we're going to hear on any case, especially on a national presidential election. But you're going to come into our courts and then tell us, yeah, we don't have any evidence? It's beyond outrageous. And now the judges are starting to get livid.
Hi guys, Claire here. I'm partnered with Best Buy to share with you all the amazing Black Friday deals they have going on this season.
Oh, Lord, I quit.
Yeah, they really are. And, just to be clear, the Trump campaign has filed at least 18 different lawsuits in battleground states. And so far, only 2 of those suits resulted in favorable rulings for the Trump campaign. Clearly not enough to undo the margin that Biden won by. But let me give you some other specific examples, Jake. For instance, in Michigan, Judge Cynthia Stevens questioned attorneys about a sworn affidavit that Republican attorneys had gathered in which a witness said they were told about mishandling of ballots. And so her response to that lawsuit was this: what I have at best is a hearsay affidavit. If there is something in that affidavit that would indicate that the witness observed activity that would be a deprivation of the rights of poll watchers, I want you to please focus my attention on that. I heard somebody else say something. Tell me why that's not hearsay. Come on now. One lawyer representing the Republican poll watchers in Michigan also argued that coronavirus restrictions meant they were positioned as far as 20 feet back to the point where you can't see anything. And by the way, that's been refuted, and they've provided no evidence of that. Judge Timothy Kenney rejected that argument in court, where he says, where's the facts about that? I mean, they're just wasting people's time. Plaintiffs rely on numerous affidavits from election challengers who paint a picture of sinister, fraudulent activities occurring both openly in the TCF Center and under the cloak of darkness, Kenney wrote. This is the judge, of course, noting that those claims were decidedly contradicted by an election expert put forth by the defense. Then you move on to Pennsylvania, where, I mean, the situation is just beyond clownish at this point. So let me tell you where we're at right now. So in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, Judge Richard Haas grilled the Trump's campaign lawyer Jonathan Goldstein at a court hearing last week. He wanted to know the basis for Trump's claims of fraud, and here's what the judge had to say, Jake. He says, I am asking you a specific question, and I'm looking for a specific answer. Are you claiming that there's any fraud in connection with these 592 disputed ballots? And at that point, the Trump campaign lawyer says this: to my knowledge at present, no.
Then why are
you
here?
Doing?
Yeah, why are you here? Why are you?
We've already covered this. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not feeling well. Let's go ahead and read the. Let's go ahead and read the stats for the CV, and then I might wind this up. Liz suggested I take the night off, and I was like, no. I said I was gonna come and do the story on the abuse, and I did. And let's get to the cases, and let's see if I can get through this. 11,538,057 COVID-19 cases in the United States today. We have 252,651 deaths. Let's get to the numbers. Let's get them. Go ahead and hit yesterday because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Next day. Oh, Lord. 11,000, you might almost say 12,000 cases in Texas. They lost 78 people. They got 186,000 plus walking around. California, they got 11,209. They lost 39 people today. They got over 500,000 people walking around with the CV in California. 508,000 plus. Walking around Cali. Florida, 4,653 new cases. They lost 38 people. They got 252 and a half, almost 1,000 walking around. New York City, 4,063. They lost 36 people today. They got 136 and a half thousand people walking around almost. Illinois, I told you they're coming after you, New York. 11,632 new cases. They lost 42 people. They got over a quarter of a million people walking around Illinois right now infected. Georgia on my mind. I caught the CV train to Georgia. They just lucky they not infected like California. They got 1,247 new cases. They lost 10 people. They got almost 150,000 walking around. Tennessee got almost 8,000 new cases a day. They lost 30 people. They got 43,000 plus walking around. Wisconsin, 4,389. They lost 12 people. They got 70,000 plus walking around. Ain't nothing finer than the mountains and beaches of South Carolina, of North Carolina. Use the same song for both of them. 1,972 new cases. They lost 8 people. They got 33,000 plus walking around infected. Ohio. They got 7,268 new cases a day. They lost 20 people. They got 94,000 plus walking around Ohio. Michigan, what up though? They got 6,381 new cases. They lost 55 people. They got over 141,500 people walking around. New Jersey, 3,435. They lost 14 people today. They're holding off Arizona. They got 83,000 plus walking around New Jersey. Arizona, 1,476. They got no losses. Oh, they got their stats back. 200. 224. Mom was at 225,000 walking around Arizona. Pennsylvania, 6,214. They lost 14 people. They got 82,500 plus walking around. Indiana, ooh-wee. Somebody better find my hookah. They got 5,147 new cases. They lost 26 people. They got 101,500 people walking around Indiana infected. Missouri, 4,673 new cases. They lost 8 people. They got almost 184,000 walking around. Minnesota, 7,437. They lost 12 people. They got almost 48,500 walking around. Alabama. I said Alabama. They got 1,410 new cases. And they lost 1. They got 128,000 walking around infected. Louisiana, 546. They lost 7 people today. They got almost 23,000 walking around. Virginia, they picked up 2,677 new cases. They lost 6 people. They got 178,000 and a half. 178,000 and a half walking around infected. Ain't nothing finer than the streets of South Carolina. 1,110 new cases. They lost 31 people. They got 90 and a half, almost 1,000 walking around infected. Massachusetts, they got 2,164 new cases. They lost 11 people. They got almost 32,000 walking around. Iowa, 3,209 new cases. They lost 6 people. they got 78,000 plus walking around. Colorado, 4,296. No, I would say 4,300. By the time we read this, they lost 32 people. They got 113,500 walking around. My little state of Maryland, sweet little Maryland. We got 1,726 new cases today. 7 people died today in my state. Thank God I ain't one of them. We got 155,000 people walking around Maryland infected, our little state. I'm going out tomorrow and I ain't looking forward to it, but I got my mask. Oklahoma, 2,729. They lost 10 people. They got 29,000 plus walking around. Utah, 1,971. They lost 5 people. They got 49,500 people walking around Utah. Oh, shucky ducky, Kentucky. Oh, shucky ducky. They got 1,511 new cases today. They lost 3 people. They got almost 113,000 people walking around Kentucky. Washington State, 3,189. They lost 2 people. They got 76,000 plus walking around. Mississippi, M-I. Crooked letter, I. Crooked letter, I. Humpback, I. Mississippi, 589 new cases. They lost 2 people. They got almost 15,000 walking around. Arkansas, 1,308 cases. They lost 42 people. They got 16,500 walking around. That was Arkansas. This is the real Kansas. Where's Dorothy and Toto? They got 6,868. This the real Kansas right here. They lost 10 people. They got 48,000 people walking around Kansas. Where's the wizard at? Come help them, wizard. Nevada, 1,914. They lost 8 people. They got 43,000 plus walking around. Nebraska, 3,440. They got 18 people they lost today. They got almost 47,000 walking around. Connecticut, 4,639 new cases. They lost 22 people. They got 42,000 plus walking around. Idaho, Idaho. They got 1,099 new cases there. They lost 4 people. 47,000 plus walking around. North Dakota, 897 new cases today. They didn't lose nobody. They got 18,000 plus walking around infected. New Mexico, I said New Mexico, 1,253 new cases. They lost 21 people. They got almost 39,000 walking around. North Dakota, 1,089. They lost 7 people. They got almost 11,000 walking around. Oregon, 766. They lost 4. No stats. Montana, 869 new cases. They lost 2 people. They got 20,000 plus walking around. Time to roll that off. Rhode Island, I said Rhode Island, 481 new cases. They lost 5 people. They got almost 40,000 walking around. West Virginia, 801 new cases. They lost 3. They got 10,000 plus walking around. Delaware, they got 397 new cases, no deaths. They got 13,500 walking around. Alaska, 578. No losses. They got 16,500 walking around. Wyoming, 699. No deaths. They got 10,000 plus walking around. District of Columbia, 87 new cases. No deaths. They got 4,100 walking around. Hawaii 5-0, 94 new cases, no deaths, 4,300 plus walking around. New Hampshire, 358 new cases, and they lost one. They got 3,300 plus walking around. It's a pain to be in Maine. They got 173 new cases, no deaths. They got 2,100 plus walking around. Vermont. Vermont with Jim Neidhart. Not Jim Neidhart. What was Bob Newhart? I said Neidhart. It's Bob Newhart. 119. No deaths. 899 people infected in Vermont. Puerto Rico. You got to roll that R. I said Puerto Rico. 929 new cases. They lost 7 people. 43,000 plus walking around. Guam. 54 new cases. They lost 4. They got 2,100 plus walking around. We got stats for the Virgin Islands. 16 new cases. No deaths. They got 45 people on the island. No stats for the Marinia or the Samoa. U.S. military, they finally showed up. 3,193 new cases. And they lost 1. 36,079. Veteran Affairs. 1,118 new cases. They lost 12. They got 1,192 walking around. Federal prisons. 742 new cases. They lost 3 people. They got 4,400 walking around. No stats for the Navajo. Let's get to our grand total. 11,538,057. New cases today, 162,149. Total deaths, 252,651. New deaths today. 739 people died in the good old USA today. How many people are walking around infected? 4,266,102. Is there a place you can go where you can't catch the TV in this country? Is there a place you can go? But no relief, no stimulus. You're on your own. You are on your own. Hey, how you doing, Cecilia? Let me check the chat. I'm glad you came in. I'm not really feeling well right now. And then I'm sitting here, I'm sweating. I don't know what's wrong. But God is good. I made it. So y'all, we just look at the stats. Are you going live tonight, Cecilia? If you go live, we'll spotlight you. Oh, I just had it there to be smart. That guy, he called himself Hustle BITCH. We had that first, and he took it and put it on his. Now I said something about it. Now he took it down. Now I don't think he uses it anymore. Now I said something, so he must watch it. Let's find out. Did he do a video today? We just looked him up yesterday, and he still ain't popping up. He ain't big as he think he is. He still ain't popped up. Nope. Yeah, I guess YouTube's not gonna promote that last name. There he is. Yeah, he gonna pop up first. Who else will call themselves that? All right, this was his latest video 2 days ago. Let's see.
I just have one thing to say. Hang on here.
No, he's still doing it.
morning. Good afternoon. Or
Ain't no good morning. Ain't no good morning. You stole our clip. And we ain't gonna let you forget about it, sir. You stole our clip. I just say, you see? We had that first. And saying how we had it first, we ain't gonna let go. Taking you a long time to get down there, sir. We had that clip. Somebody put it on TikTok and Liz sent it to me and we threw it right up. You know, believe it or not, Jasilia, I had 3 other things that I was going to put behind me, but this one used the less PC power. And that's how we wound up doing it. Jasilia says, I'm not going on chat today, but probably upload if anything comes up for awareness. Naya says, thank you, Jasilia. Yeah, thanks for the thumbs up. We shouldn't have any thumbs down today, but I know we do. We shouldn't have any, but I know we do. I don't know why people think that thumbing down, that's going to hurt you. I don't know why they think that. When somebody gives you a thumbs up, it puts you in a rotation. It also exposes them to your subs. Because when you like a video, it goes on your page. And so when people go to your page, they'll see who you thumbs up. And maybe they'll click on it. Well, hey, Jasilia watched this person. Let me check them out. Hey, Brother Derek watched this person. Let me check it out. Hey, Nia watched this video. Let me check it out. It's just a way of getting you advertised. And if you get a certain amount, the YouTube computer and its algorithm will move your video up in the suggestions and suggest it to more people. So people think by giving you a thumbs down that they take you away from that algorithm, which means less people see your video. Whether you like somebody or not, why would you want less people to see the video? That person must really have you in that feeling that you care whether or not somebody watched that video. If you don't want to watch the video, that's fine. But why do you care about other people not watching the video? Especially when we do such good topics like religion. We had a good topic today. Generational cycle of abuse. That was our topic today. See? We always try to have good stuff on. Stuff you can learn from, and people don't want to learn. They don't. We also showed today about how people want to do what they want to do. And the people in South Dakota did not want to wear masks. And their governor listened to them and told them, yeah, you ain't got to wear no mask. Do what you want. And now there are more people infected population-wise with the CV than any other place in the United States. and South Dakota is a small state. I've been calling it South Dakota, highlighting it when I go down my list. Because it's a South Dakota and a North Dakota. I call North Dakota, North Dakota. For South Dakota, I call it South Dakota. Because it always seemed to be on top of North Dakota. And a couple times, it had sprung past and left it 2 or 3 states behind. I knew it was going to be a hot spot. But the governor is telling everybody, you ain't got to close up. Bringing in the motorcycle gang for that big party. Trump coming in there with all those, big fan gatherings, trying to promote himself to be president. People out there with no mask on. So, you know, when you do what you want to do, you got to pay the price. Then we had a nurse who said that the people are sitting there dying on the ventilator. She's watching their breathing percent go from 100% to 25%. And the people are not calling their families to say goodbye. They fussing and cussing at the nurses, talking about, I got lung cancer, I don't have no CV, I don't have no coronavirus, I got influenza, I got pneumonia. What are you doing? Treat me. Instead of saying goodbye to their families. Because they can't face the reality. Yeah, I was told to wear a mask. I was told to social distance. I was told to wash my hands and carry hand sanitizer. Fully. I don't think I should have to do any of that. I don't feel I should have to do any of that. So now, they sitting there on the ventilator dying, and they don't feel that they dying, so they're not going to call their families and say goodbye to them. The human being is the most complex thing to figure out. Because in order to do what we want to do, we'll even die with no dignity. Just to be able to do what we want to do. We'll die with no dignity. The figure says you are doing well, though, as you are having more thumbs up than down. You have 12 thumbs up and 3 thumbs down. Those who thumb down are just uncircumcised hearts. They need prayer unless justified. Well, I can tell you, I've been up, I've been down. We just started coming back up a little bit. It ain't gonna last long. It always go back. But we doing pretty good right now. With the election, we did pretty good with the riots. We did pretty good with the shootings, the Ahmaud Arbery, the Breonna Taylor. And then we get them laws where we go back down. There be 5 people here, 4 people here. It's coming back. For the Christmas holidays, I guarantee you, we're going to be right back down. That's just the way it goes. That's why I don't pay numbers on mine. It's nice when you get them. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Snazzy dropped some stuff. Hold on, y'all. All right. Can y'all see this? An elderly woman went to the bank to withdraw some money, okay? That old lady handed her bank card to a bank teller and said, I would like to withdraw $500. The female teller told her. Do we have to skip? You might have to go ahead and skip now and get it out of the way. So go ahead and skip it now. Go ahead and get it out of the way because you always got to skip with this page to get the rest of it. After listening to her request, the bank teller looked at her and said, Ma'am, Withdrawals of under $5,000 cannot be done through an ATM. Confused by this, the elderly woman asked why she could not just withdraw the money from the bank instead. The teller let out a sigh and began to get irritable. Instead of trying to politely explain this to the elderly woman, she handed her card and coldly said, "Those are the rules. Now please leave if you have no other questions or requests. There is a long queue behind you, unwilling to let this go." The woman slid her card back to the teller and said, "I do have another request. I would like to withdraw all of my money." The teller was shocked to see that the woman had $3 million in her account. Seeing a large sum, the teller lowered her voice and changed her tone. "Now she respectfully wishes, ma'am, I cannot withdraw this much money as the bank does not have this much cash right now. Could you make an appointment and come back to collect your money at a later date?" Feeling determined to get what she wanted, the elderly woman asked how much money she could withdraw. After being told she could withdraw any amount up to $300,000, she agreed to draw $300,000. Politely and enthusiastically, the teller withdrew the money and handed them to the woman. She handed $300,000 to the elderly woman, smiled politely, and asked, "Whatever y'all for the day?" The elderly woman smiled back, put $500 in her wallet, and said, "No, I would like to deposit $299,500. Moral of the story: there's no need to be difficult and impatient with elderly people. At the end of the day, someone older and wiser can always outsmart you if they wanted to. Thanks for that story. That was a good one, Snazzy. Hold on, she got another one for us, y'all. Five mourners died after catching the CV at an illegal large-scale wake. See that? Doing what you want to do. Doing what you want to do. So is it a video? Okay. So we got a video? That's all? That's my first thought. Yeah, that was wisdom, just saying. Alright, that had nothing to do with the story. But it was there, so I played it. 5 mourners who attended a mass funeral wake died after reportedly catching the CV. There, a Birmingham City Council boss has revealed. Hundreds of people turned out for the illegal memorial service in the city earlier this year. The authorities' enforcement chief, Paul Lancaster, suggested it was almost a street party type thing to celebrate the life of someone. He told a virtual meeting of mosque leaders, "We've heard that 5 people who attended that got COVID and passed away." He did not disclose who the wake was for or where precisely it took place, but he said it was not only an example of illegal large-scale funerals being held in Birmingham. Some 200 mourners reportedly tried to break into a cemetery where one funeral was taking place while another remembrance service was attended by 300 people. Mr. Lancaster added, "We had a very serious incident in the last fortnight where we have taken action against a funeral director. I'm not going to say where, when, how, who, and what faith was involved. But at the funeral, there were upwards of 300 people at the cemetery, and then they actually created bedlam within the local area because we just couldn't manage it. We wasn't aware of it. So the action we are taking is legal action." And in the comments first reported by the Birmingham Mail, he added, "If you organize an illegal gathering above 30 people, you could be subject to a penalty notice. The government's guidance on funerals in England is that up to 30 people are allowed to gather for services outdoors. Funerals being inside can have the same number 10 as long as there is room for social distancing. Let's close that. Alrighty. Well, we already right here. Does anybody really care? I mean, that's how bad it's getting. I don't think anybody's gonna stop doing what they're doing to watch this, but I'll play it.
And we begin with breaking news at 10. A man abandoned his yellow dirt bike, and police say he was chased by a gunman and shot nearly a dozen times near the clothespin statue at 15th and Market tonight. Philadelphia police also say the victim is 20 years old, and they believe he was targeted.
A white small hatchback vehicle going south on 15th Street pulls up. Someone gets out of that vehicle and runs right up to the victim and starts firing shots. The victim gets off the motorcycle and runs on foot south on the sidewalk on 15th Street, and the shooter clearly chases the victim, firing multiple shots.
Police are looking for that white vehicle and the gunman tonight. They're also searching for a motive. There is speculation of road rage right now as the investigation continues.
Well, he must have really done something. God darn. Shot the man 12 times. You trying to shoot somebody 12 times, you trying to kill him. Ain't no mistake.
Breaking right now, police around an Oldsmobile van stolen from a Bridgeview gas station with a 4-year-old inside. Chopper 2 over that scene at Pulaski and Belle Plaine right now. The hunt for 4-year-old Liam, seen here. Earlier today, it set off an Amber Alert. Charlie Devine is live on the scene with the very latest. Charlie, this story really all turned in the past 15 minutes.
Yeah, all this unfolding right now, as you saw from Chopper 2, that police do have a car that matches the description that was the same car taken from this gas station here. That Amber Alert was sent out for Liam Barbassa. The 4-year-old was in the back seat of the car when his dad ran into the 7-Eleven here. When Dad came back out, the car was gone with Liam inside. And just a bit ago, Liam's mother pleaded for his safe return.
Liam, I love you so much. You're the strongest and bravest boy that I know. Mama loves you. I'm with you always. Please bring him home safely.
And the Amber Alert that was sent out gave this description of Liam, 4 years old, 4 feet tall. He was wearing a black jacket with gray pants with a yellow stripe. He was wearing socks and no shoes. He was inside his family's blue 2001 Oldsmobile Silhouette van with Illinois license plate L703520. That car also had a U.S. Marine Corps sticker. Again, that car was running as Dad went into the 7-Eleven here and was gone when he returned. Police from a number of departments have been searching several spots for Liam, thinking that whoever took the car may have just let Liam out once he realized the child was inside. Again, his mother speaking just a few minutes ago and had this to say for the person responsible.
Whatever happened, happened, and I don't care. I just want my boy back. I know you probably didn't realize he was in there, and that's okay, but please leave him untouched. I'm praying he's in the car, safe and sleeping, and then I'll see him very soon.
Yeah.
And again, it does appear that the search for that car is over. Spotted in Chicago. Police do have that car surrounded, and we are understanding that Liam will be checked out and evaluated for his condition. We, of course, will be on this throughout the night. We are live tonight in Bridgeview. Charlie DeMar, CBS 2 News. Brad.
Okay, Charlie.
Yeah, what kind of reaction was that? You know, she acted like he was on a play date. What? Are you freaking serious? The singer said that was wisdom talking in the old lady. You show the young ones you have walked the streets of life to get the gray hairs and badges of old age. I was thinking how she would have safely taken $300,000 US in her handbag. she taught her manners. Nia said, "Oh my, unsafe to leave small children and cars alone." Yeah, why would you do that? With that phone said, why would somebody do that? Carl is worthless, and now he is going to jail for a long time. Why would the parent leave a child in the car running with the key in there running? I understand you need to get your cigarette, you need to get your blunts, but goddamn, bring the child with you. You can get another car. You can't get another child. All right, y'all. This is from Snazzy. Snazzy girl. Do we got a video? Discount Tire employee dead. South Carolina man charged with murder after Concord SWAT operation. Let's go ahead to the full story because we ain't gonna fool with this little part here. After more than 4 hours of communication and negotiation, oh, hold on, they got a video. Wait a minute. No thanks.
Good evening to you, and thank you for joining.
They loading the ad. They always do that. Get you think you don't watch the video, and then they ring the ad on. Yeah, they terrible with that. They know they wrong for that. If you see it's a 4-year-old in there, I would immediately park that car and went about my business. Oh no.
About the man who Concord police say barricaded himself in a tire shop and killed an employee. He's right there on your screen, 39-year-old Jeremy Spann, and he's been charged with murder. His standoff with officers lasted 4 hours at the Discount Tire on Dickens Place, and police say the Spann has a criminal record with several previous charges right here in Mecklenburg County. WCNC's Lexi Wilson joins us now from Concord with the latest details on this. And Lexi, it doesn't seem much quieter behind you now.
It is quiet, it is calm now, but earlier today there was a several hours long standoff. Police trying to communicate with the suspect, urging that he surrender. And when he finally did, they found an employee dead inside.
Heavily armed police officers, over a dozen squad cars, and SWAT.
We don't have these types of events occurring in Concord.
It started shortly after 11 Saturday morning. According to police, the suspect entered the tire shop, had an argument, and then fired shots. Some employees left the business after they heard the gunfire.
Employees said that one other employee was inside of the facility at the time.
When officers arrived, they found 39-year-old Jeremy Spann of Lynchburg, South Carolina, barricaded inside the business.
The negotiations ended successfully at 3:32 p.m.
After the suspect was taken into custody, police found an employee dead inside the shop.
It's obvious that the person had been deceased for some time.
The suspect was taken to the hospital for a medical event not related to this incident. No officers were hurt during the standoff. Spann is charged with murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The Concord police will now work to determine what led to this chaotic eruption of gunfire.
Right now, we do not know what the motivation is behind this incident.
And police have not yet identified the victim as they are still notifying the family. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story. Reporting in Concord for WCNC Charlotte.
People just do the craziest stuff. Uh-oh. 37 minutes ago.
The new Ergo Smart Base.
This was 37 minutes ago. Wait a minute. All right, I see a link. Let's see what's going on with the Turks.
Of coronavirus cases is rising sharply all throughout the country, including in Michigan, where the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, has decided that she needs to implement some new proposals, new policies in order to slow the spread of coronavirus. So one of the things that she's doing is she's going to halt indoor dining, obviously temporarily until things get under control. She's also shutting down public entertainment venues anything that could increase the spread of coronavirus makes a lot of sense. Also, in-person teaching will be halted, and students will unfortunately have to go back to virtual learning. Now, Scott Atlas, Donald Trump's coronavirus advisor, decided to attack her for this decision on Twitter, where he said, "The only way this stops is if people rise up. You get what you accept. Hashtag freedom matters. Hashtag step up." Now remember, Gretchen Whitmer was targeted by right-wing gang members, right-wing extremists, and luckily the FBI foiled that plot before they could kidnap her and possibly murder her. But that hasn't stopped the Trump administration from inciting and encouraging violence against Gretchen Whitmer and other Democratic governors who have decided to lead and do what they can to slow the spread of a virus that is killing, on average, 1,000 Americans a day. Right now, we're up to 247,000 Americans who have died as a result of coronavirus, and the number of new confirmed coronavirus cases continues to increase. And unfortunately, we have this clown, Scott Atlas, discouraging people from wearing masks while simultaneously inciting violence against governors like Gretchen Whitmer. Now, later, he tried to backpedal and deny that he was inciting violence. He said, "Hey, I was never talking at all about violence. People vote, people peacefully protest. Never would I endorse or incite violence. Never." Yeah, people voted. They want people like you out of the White House.
Yeah, no, look, we always talk about context matters. So if you're using a trope used against a specific group, it's different context than if it's not a trope about a group, right? And I don't want to get into specific examples.
He got a great microphone.
You have someone who was targeted by right-wing militia, and they said they were going to step up by murdering her. So when you ask people to step up and rise up, as the militia rose up against Gretchen Whitmer, and not like 4 years ago or 100 years ago, but just a couple of months ago, you're at a bare minimum, you're being very uncareful with her life. And you're egging people on in a way that is very dangerous. If you're doing it by accident, you're a dummy. Come on, for God's sake. Of course you know that, right? So what are you doing here? But nobody thinks it's an accident. He wanted plausible deniability by writing in. He later realized, oh my God, Trump's about to lose, and then I might not have a career if I'm going around trying to egg the militia on to do violent acts against elected officials. And so the backpedal is not remotely convincing. Now, on to the issue of coronavirus. And look, no wonder it's rising out of control. You know how bad it is in Michigan right now? So just 2 weeks ago, on November 1st, they had 178,000 cases. You know how many cases they had on November 16th? Over 275,000. It went up by nearly 100,000 in just 2 weeks. And deaths went from 7,340 to 8,378. So deaths went up just in the state of Michigan in just 2 weeks by 1,000 people. So there's a wonderful nurse in South Dakota who wrote this Twitter thread and quickly summarized it by basically saying, with their dying breath, Trump voters are saying, like, I don't get it. This is fake. And why won't you give me the magic cure? No. There is no magic cure right now. And it's not fake. You're dying from it. Please, for God's sake, wake up. I can't believe that Michigan didn't already have that order that she ordered right now. In California, we haven't been able to go inside restaurants for a long time. You know why? Because cases were raging here. And then once we put in the thing that you can't eat inside, the cases went way down. And now because it's raging all across the country, cases are going back up. Because really, in the middle of record-breaking cases every single day, in the middle of the worst pandemic of our lives, you're going to go eat indoors? Guys, the vaccine, it now finally, thank God, appears to be around the corner. Fauci's talking about some people, obviously not most of us, but like doctors, nurses, etc., might start being able to take it in late December. Holy cow, that's in 2020, right? That's great news. We just got to hang in it. Nobody likes this. I want to go to a movie. I want to eat popcorn. I want to go inside the restaurant too. We're all humans. We all want to do that. And we want to support those businesses. These small businesses are dying. But we got to wait a couple more months here. The rushing in because you think freedom, well, you're going to get freed from your life. It's a terrible idea. Don't do it to yourself and don't do it to others. And whatever you do, do not listen to quacks like Scott Atlas.
So I also wanted to show what Governor Whitmer's response.
Snazzy brought a couple things. Oops. Where we at? Anybody ever heard of Lawrence Clayton? Anybody ever heard of Lawrence Clayton? He was on Law and Order. Which one? The SUV? If he was on the regular Law and Order, then I don't know who he is. Lawrence Clayton, Broadway, and Law and Order actor, died at 64. I see a video loading up. I'm trying to make sure it's muted. Mute. Thank you. Actor Lawrence Clayton has passed away, as friends and family told Broadway World this week. Clayton, 64, had an illustrious career both on stage and on screen. Though he is best known for roles on the Broadway stage, according to a report by Variety, Clayton died of glioblastoma, a rare form of brain cancer. Clayton is survived by his wife, Linda, and one son, Matthew. The family held a funeral service for him near their home in Orange, New Jersey, at Woody's Funeral Home. Clayton reportedly passed away on November 2nd after 2 years of battling with cancer. His co-stars and other colleagues in the industry sang his praises in the wake of his passing. Clayton is well known for Dreamgirls, the show where he made his Broadway debut in 1981 as a replacement in the role of C.C. White. He will go on to play the role in the touring company as he built his career through the decade. He will later become a TV star as well, with roles on Law and Order, Criminal Intent, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and As the World Turns. In more recent years, Clayton could be seen on shows like Homeland, Elementary, and Posse, or Pose. Clayton came from Knoxville, North Carolina, originally, where he grew up and attended college. As a young man, Clayton moved to New York City to pursue a career in theater, and eventually his wish came true. On Broadway itself, he appeared in shows like The High Rollers, Social and Pleasure Club, One Upon a Mattress, The Civil War, It Ain't Nothing But the Blues, The Bells Are Ringing, and The Color Purple. Oops. Meanwhile, Clayton toured with shows like Dreamgirls, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Les Miserables. His off-Broadway credits include Romance in the Hard Times, Tapestry, The Musical Carole King, Saturn Returns, Crowns, and Damn Yankees. Fans joined in the mourning for Clayton on social media this week as news of his passing began to spread. One commented, "Very sad, my thoughts and prayers with his family," while another one added, "2020 can just F off right now at this point. Another amazing talent is gone." Okay. Alright, I think she had another one. Hold on a sec, y'all. Oh, man. I enjoyed him when I was a young man. I enjoyed Sinbad. They're gonna shine. Yeah, we getting old. Sinbad has suffered a stroke, according to his family. The Atkins family said in a statement to the Associated Press on Monday that it is out of sincere love that we share Sinbad, our beloved husband and father, is recovering from a recent stroke. Sinbad is a light source of love and joy for many generations. While he is beginning his road to recovery, we are faithful and optimistic that he will bring laughter into our hearts soon, the statement continued. The 64-year-old Sinbad, born David Atkins, is known for his... Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't want that. That mess out of here. Get it out of here. And you still gonna, I hit the X button twice. You still gonna let it hang around. Get it out of here, man. Hit it for the 4th time. The 5th time. The 6th time. It's still sitting there. Man. Sinbad is a source of life and joy for many generations. While he is beginning his road to recovery, we are faithful and optimistic that he will bring laughter in our hearts soon, the statement continues. The 64-year-old Sinbad, born David Atkins, is known for his stand-up work and appearances in the sitcom A Different World from 1987 to 1983 and The Sinbad Show from 1993 to 1994. And then what happened, sir? The entertainer also appeared on the Fox show Ralph, which ran from 2018 to 2019. Sinbad also did voice work for shows on Disney's The Lion Guard, Steven Universe, and American Dad. Our family thanks you in advance for your love and support and asks for continued prayers for his healing. We also ask that you please respect our privacy during this time, the family statement read. Brock Pierce, a 2020 presidential candidate and former child actor who famously played the role of a mischievous first kid and president's son named Luke Davenport in the 1996 cult classic film with Sinbad starring as his aside Secret Service agent Sam Sims sent his well wishes to his pal Sinbad in a statement to Fox on Monday. Alright, y'all, Sinbad had a stroke. Boy, that's just a reminder. That's just a reminder. That's just a reminder. Mother phone said people are going to cycle, kill over a set of tires. Mother said, I guess his life is not worth much. He said, electricity for electric chair costs more than tires. What happened? Guy who shot up tire shop over his tires killed an employee. Yeah, we showed that. Mother said, must really be bad drugs that make you that stupid. You'd be surprised what people on drugs do. Was that all of them? Yeah, that was all from Snazzy. Okay. All right. I don't know where he is. We gotta go find him. I could have sworn that I was talking to Liz today and that I sent it to him, but I don't know where he went. What is that? I don't know where he went, and he ain't showing up on my screen. I knew it. Well, where's he at? Where are you at, sir? He was a person. That's not good when you can't find somebody. All right, not a big deal. Not a big deal. But please get that dweeb off my screen. Why is this on my screen? Come on, man, get off my screen. God darn. Won't let me do nothing. It's my PC and I can't control nothing. I gotta sit here and let everybody else do what they want to do, and I gotta sit here and look stupid. Alright, so let's just find an old one. I know good and well that I marked that down though. Let's find an old one. David, don't come over here. Put your butt down somewhere. Meet that, because we don't need that. We need that. Then I ask you to go sit down. Don't talk back to me. Do what I say. Can y'all see this? All right, let's get it. We ain't got no volume.
I know, may she rest in peace, my mom.
Hold on, there was no
my mom,
volume?
y'all, this picture I saw y'all before coming back in the summertime. This picture of my mom, she's pretty, huh? She's beautiful, my mom. I know, may she rest in peace, my mom. I know my mom, she died from 4th-stage cancer, my mom. Rest in peace, mom. Yeah, she beautiful, huh? She behind me, my mom. She beautiful, y'all see her? So y'all see the picture frame on y'all see the picture frame of my mom? So y'all see her with the glasses? And her with the blue t-shirt? Yeah, her with the blue t-shirt and the hair and everything. It's so cute, huh?
Didn't you already show this?
So y'all, I know y'all love my mom. Y'all love my mom to death, huh?
We don't know
her.
her.
I love my mom so much.
I miss her.
I miss her so much. My late mom. I miss my late mom so much. I know she died from 4th-stage cancer a whole year ago. On June 11th, 2019, on a Tuesday. My mom. I know my mom, she was a good woman. A very good woman, my mom. She was a good woman, my mom. She was always there for me. She gave me something every year for Christmas, Halloween, even Thanksgiving, even on my birthday too. I know she wasn't there just for me, but she was there for everyone else in my family. My mom, she was there for me.
Okay.
I know she was there for me, my mom. I know she was there for me. I know me. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut quiet in the rest of this video. Y'all show y'all love and respect for my mom. Y'all show y'all love and respect for my mom. Everybody show they love and respect for my mom. May she rest in peace. My mom, she in a better place, heaven. My mom.
Well, he ain't doing nothing. We ain't gonna sit here and look at nobody's picture. All right. That was Kevin King. Let's see here. We found something to get into. All right. What?
What's up, family? Just before the elections of 2020, the founder of BET, Bob Johnson, said that he was viewing the election through the lens of a businessman. He said that I'll take the devil I know over the one I don't know. The devil he knew was Donald Trump. The devil he didn't know was Joe Biden. So he's like, I'm going with the devil I know, Donald Trump. I know he's a devil. I know what he's going to do. I know how he responds to crisis, to issues about race, issues about unemployment. I know how he responds to issues about civilized behavior, lying, cheating, stealing. I know how he behaves. Bob Johnson forgot where he came from. When he had BET, he was all power to the people. When he got that $1 billion, actually it was, I think, $3 billion. Yeah. It was like, who are the niggas? You know? Yeah. So he got the money. Black people made him. Let's not make any mistake about that. Black people afforded him the lifestyle that he had. He wasn't quite a billionaire, but he enjoyed a very cushy lifestyle. So black people propped him up, got him to a point where he could get a $3 billion raise. And then he turned his back. Look, I don't know what y'all got going on. I don't know what y'all talking about with this racism thing, defunding police, black folks getting shot and killed, and all this racist stuff. Yeah, I know Trump be saying all this type of stuff, but I ain't got nothing to do with that, man. I'm talking about this business, man. What we gonna do about this business? I'm talking business. So for him, it's all about the money. He's not alone. There are others. Kanye West, Charles Barkley. I mean, I could go down the list, the whole list. You know, Candace Owens. So it's a long list of them. But they let us know time and time again who they really are. How much money means to them. People who have a money over everything mentality, I don't trust them. They'll do anything for money. I mean anything. And you know what? It ain't always got to be about money. Once they're absent of a conscience, they'll do anything. They're capable of anything. Those type of people scare me. I wouldn't want to be anywhere around them. Many of them are the same type of people who would take out their family for money. They'll kill their sister, their brother, their mother, their father, their grandmother. They'll kill their spouses for money. They'll kill their children for money. This is what they do. So Bob Johnson, after all of what black folks did for him, he's no longer interested in issues that affect the black community. For him, it's strictly business. Therefore, I think it is very appropriate when I say, Bob Johnson, your mama should be embarrassed and your daddy should have pulled out. No more talk.
What the man is talking about.
At CIT, we have over a century of experience helping our customers turn potential into financial strength. Whether you're
now you're gonna do it. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom.
There's a
Let me check the chat real quick. Anybody here? Snazzy said, you're welcome, Minister Brother Dad. Good night, sweet dream. Good night, Naya, sweet dreams. You have a good night too, Snazzy. Yeah, y'all. Let's see. How much time we got left? 3 hours and 36 minutes. We only been on for 3 hours and 36 minutes. Seems like we've been on for hours. Normally time flies. Guess we can look at a couple more things. Looking at what? DNA spray? What the heck is that?
A burglar breaks into a family-owned pharmacy in downtown Sacramento and makes off with some drugs. Tonight, this guy might think that he actually got away with it.
But little does he know his skin is stained. CBS 13's Laura Hafley explains.
Second time's the charm for one suspect who smashed through a pharmacy window in Sacramento.
America's dumbest criminals or something, yeah.
Fuji pharmacy owner Clint Hopkins showed us surveillance video from Sunday morning.
Throws a rock. It doesn't work. And then he throws a rock again and it doesn't work. Wait, here comes again. Oh, one more time. Now
But the suspect didn't give up, coming back nearly 24 hours later to give it another try.
Glass break again. This time they picked a different window and was not the high impact glass.
They've been broken into before and say suspects are usually looking for something specific.
Looking for morphine, hydrocodone, things that have street value.
We don't have to keep any of that on the shelf. So everything's kept in a secure lock safe. This is bolted to the floor. I mean, if they attempted to try to get into this, it would take them for a really long time.
But this suspect didn't go away completely empty-handed.
Then we also have this additional DNA spray. When someone breaks into the pharmacy and it activates that spray, and if you walk under it, you get sprayed with a DNA signature that ties you back to this pharmacy.
A security system that stains your skin and clothing for up to 6 weeks.
It's going to light up under a black light, and then once they find that person with the black light, and it'll validate that they were in here. We're hopeful that someone from the public will be able to identify this individual.
Who knew, right? DNA spray. We did reach out to the Sacramento Police Department. There have been no arrests yet. The pharmacy says they'll keep an eye out for that suspect.
They got DNA spray now. Oh, please. Death flag in a minute. All right.
Good evening. Right now at 6, the sudden spike in COVID-19 cases leading to an overwhelming rush for testing. Long lines at sites like this one at Hard Rock Stadium. Cars lined up as far as the eye could see. And tonight, the experts say Miami-Dade County is on the list of epicenters for the virus in the United States.
And we have live team coverage, including news about a second vaccine and a change to the cane schedule. But we begin with Local 10 News investigator Amy Viteri with the surge in cases. Amy. Well, so far, no one from the governor's office has responded to any of our questions about what comes next given this rise in cases, but local leaders are dealing with a couple of issues. limited authority to impose any new restrictions, as well as seems as no guidance from the state about what can be done to stop the spread.
We would like to have more ability at the local level to make our decisions.
As coronavirus surges throughout Florida, local leaders have limited tools to slow the spread. Monday, Florida reporting more than 4,600 cases, 1,010 in Miami-Dade and 423 in Broward. Positivity rates in all three creeping toward 8%.
Miami-Dade has the 7th highest numbers of deaths in all counties in the United States.
Mayor-elect Daniela Levine Cava at an event at Miami International Airport Monday, saying for now the county is bound by the governor's executive orders.
There are discussions being had to see if, given changed circumstances, if more local control will be possible.
Governor DeSantis limited local ability to enforce guidelines when he pushed the state into phase 3 of reopening in late September. Now, as governors across the country impose new restrictions amid the surging cases, DeSantis has been largely silent on the subject.
We are concerned regarding the significant increase that we've seen specific to positivity rates in Miami-Dade.
School Superintendent Alberto Carvalho says the rise in cases prompted the district to reconvene a task force to evaluate next steps. For now, there is no specific guidance from the state.
I believe the Constitution provides certain guarantees and protections for decisions regarding education to be made at the local level.
And Mayor-elect Cava set to be sworn in tomorrow. She told us she will also be reviewing all executive orders, both local and from the governor, to try to hopefully work with Governor DeSantis to move in the right direction. We're live in Miami. Amy Vicari, Local 10 News.
Can I ask a question? Why wasn't them kids socially distant? Why wasn't those kids socially distant? Anybody? Whoa, WJZ, that's my news station. Wait a minute, we got
big
news.
Story we're following this afternoon. An Anne Arundel County woman is hospitalized after being shot by her husband, who then turned the gun on himself. WJZ is live in Crofton at 4 o'clock. Sean Stryker explained what happened here. Sean.
Yeah, Rick, I'm told this is a relatively quiet neighborhood, so you can imagine the concern of neighbors when the SWAT team rolled up here on Carlisle Drive to respond to reports of a shooting.
Residents in this Crofton neighborhood say they are surprised to hear of the domestic disturbance that sent a woman to the hospital with a gunshot wound.
Really, really sad. This kind of stuff doesn't happen here usually.
Police responded to the Carlisle apartment homes around 8:30 Monday morning. Upon arrival, they discovered the victim outside her building, suffering from what appeared to be a non-life-threatening gunshot to her upper body.
It was determined the gunshot wound was from her husband.
Unsure if the husband was still a threat, police blocked off the area and escorted neighbors from the building as the SWAT team was brought in to assist.
Entry was made into the residence, which a male victim was discovered deceased. It appears to be from self-inflicted gunshot wounds.
According to police, no one else was in the apartment and no other parties are believed to be involved.
No other citizens in the area are at risk. This certainly appears to be an isolated event.
Now, I did talk to two people that live in that building. They did not want to go on camera, but they told me they didn't hear much this morning inside the building. What they heard was the commotion going on outside. Reporting live at 4 in Anne Arundel County, Sean Stryker for WJZ.
Yes, the cases are rising because people are in the house more because of the virus. And they're getting on each other's nerves. Check out this old video, 2000. This was 2017. New Year.
This is Brother Derek.
New Year.
Check it out. I was on my way to Walgreens, and I stood inside on this ice. And I remember I had this 360 camera on me because my idea was to go over to the park and shoot there. But I couldn't make it. There was too much ice on the ground. But I had to go through the pharmacy. So, and on the way there, look what I found. Going over the train tracks, there's a train leaving town. It made me stop. And I realized this is a symbolism. This train leaving town, 2017, is leaving. So I said, let me go ahead and shoot a video. So I'm shooting the train, and if you notice, the train leaving town, I'm using the T360 camera.
Hold on, y'all. Snazzy just dropped something. Let me tell her good night. All right.
Hello guys and welcome to Everyday Discussions. Today I want to talk to you guys about a serious topic. A story, a tragedy actually that happened over the Halloween weekend in Louisiana. A family claims that their 15-year-old son was found dead in a sugarcane field with his face mutilated. He was killed in a hate crime after he was picked up by a mother and her son. But the police are instead saying that the boy drowned. So to go further into detail, Kawan Charles vanished from his family's home on October the 30th. On November the 3rd, his mutilated body was found in a sugarcane field. When his parents first reported him missing at 8 p.m. on October 30th, Pop suggested he had gone to a football game. His parents later found out that he had been picked up by Janet and Gavin Irvin, a mother and son who they say they don't know, but the son claims to have been a friend of Kawan. Gavin claims that Kawan came to their trailer, but then he left on his own on October 30th. Police claim that Kawan drowned and had water in his lungs, but his family have shared photos of his mutilated face to prove this. When he was found, half of his lips were gone and he had lacerations on his head. They say it is an obvious hate crime that the police are refusing to investigate. The family attorney, Ron Halley, tells TEC he refused to share a conclusion that Charles drowned. He said, when you see his mangled body, it does not look like he drowned. He said the sheriff's explanation doesn't add up because Charles' body was found in a sugarcane field, and a body of water near that field only amounts to 1 to 2 feet of depth. Also, the family has not received an official autopsy report, so they're commissioned an independent autopsy, which the family should get back by the weekend. Ron says the sheriff's details are hazy at best. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office has said it's investigating the suspicious circumstances of his death. It has not released many details and has yet to make any arrests. And even though the family has not received any reports of an autopsy has reportedly been performed on Kawan, but the sheriff's office says results could take up to 12 weeks. Kawan's family stated they have not seen preliminary results nor a police report. Kawan's family and civil rights activists believe racial bias played into law enforcement's late investigation, and Kawan's mother wants more answers from the family that last saw him alive. The family reportedly confirmed they picked up Kawan because the kids wanted to hang out, but they say he later left alone. Now, I want to explain to you guys why this situation is actually being compared to Emmett Till and why it bears a lot of similarities.
Now, Kawan's mother chose to release a photo of his face, apparently taken at court. This picture just holds a tragic resemblance to Emmett Till, who was a 14-year-old who was moved to Mississippi in 1955. As I stated before, the image that was released involved his lips missing and there being several lacerations on his face. But the other reason why this case is being compared to Emmett Till, because when the news officially broke out on social media before it actually winds up in the mainstream media, the story actually stated that he was found lynched hanging from a tree.
Music is too on live.
Now, there isn't enough evidence to say if this is true or not, but this is just speculation from social media, and this is how we're watching, and I will keep you informed in this situation.
Action from the sheriff's office following the death of a 15-year-old. Kawan Bobby Charles was reported missing from his home in Baldwin on October 30th. Family members say he was picked up by a friend and their mother. He was found dead 3 days later near Laurelville, and since then, some family members are claiming Bobby was murdered, and police ignored their initial cries for help. Katie Easter joins us from New Iberia tonight with more on their concerns. Katie.
Well, several dozen people gathered here on the courthouse steps today. That included Bobby's parents, several organizations, including a group called Stand Black, and they are demanding a thorough investigation for this case. And that demand is now being echoed by the ACLU of Louisiana, which put out a statement today in support of the Charles family. They say investigators have been slow to provide updates to the family about the case. And family members say they were told Bobby drowned, but they are not buying that, pointing to a graphic photo of his body that's circulating online.
And so we are here to stand for his life. Because when we stand for people, we collectively give permission for others to stand with us. And so we're here today to stand and demand justice and demand the sheriff arrest the people associated with this horrible situation.
The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation, and now so far they have not said if he was killed, but they say they are investigating this in suspicious circumstances, and now deputies have interviewed several people in connection with this case, but so far no arrests have been made. Live in New Iberia, Katie Easter, KGC, TV3.
Story of a Louisiana teen who was found dead. Kawan Charles's family is desperately searching for answers tonight as to how he went missing and what ultimately led to his death. Our Elwin Lopez has more of the investigation now underway tonight into what happened and a family's cry for justice.
As a rural Louisiana town of Baldwin mourns the death of a teenage boy, tonight the family of Kawan Charles is demanding answers.
We'll get justice for Kawan.
We believe that if he had been of a different color, that this would have been taken a lot more seriously, and we would not be talking today. About 13 days have gone by with no leads, 13 days have gone by with no answers, 13 days have gone by without an official cause of death given to the family. This family deserves that. Bobby's will be laid to rest.
On October 30th, the teen went missing from his home. Days later, the family says his body was found in a sugarcane field about 20 miles away in Iberia Parish. What happened between when he was found and the day he went missing is still under investigation. While an autopsy report has not been released yet, Kawan's cousin describes a photo too graphic for us to show.
On the left side of his face, there is like a knot. On the right side, there's like a incision, and then like around his mouth area, like majority of his lips is gone, like he has been tortured.
The medical examiner's office says a full report can take up to 12 weeks. Yet the local sheriff's department calls the circumstances around his death, quote, suspicious. They say they have interviewed multiple people and are combing through physical evidence.
Their parents, I'm a parent myself, I wouldn't be concerned about the death of my child. Naturally, emotions run deep, but we have to deal with facts, and it takes time for some of this evidence to come forward, because it takes a while for toxicology to come back.
The ACLU is now demanding a full independent investigation into the teen's death. The sheriff's department says it is providing the family with updates on the case and is urging anyone
with information to come forward.
All right, that's it. Hurry up, man. Hurry up. Cancel. Told y'all I'm not feeling well. I was laying down. All right, Snazzy got one more video for us, y'all. Hey, we still got 15 people in here. What's going on? All right, Snazzy says good night, y'all. If you want to leave y'all with this.
If you thought I would let you off without seeing his face, you are gravely mistaken. 15-year-old Kawan Charles. Does it remind you of 14-year-old Emmett Till only 65 years ago? You hate our melanin but love our money. You love our culture but hate our people. You limit our education but provide no equity. You fetishize our dick but hate our diction. I'm returning my crown and remembering my ancestors. We must extend it. Extend it to those of you whom have lost your way. So take this. Take this crown, my brother and my sister, or you're going to need it.
Alrighty. Anybody have any comments? My stomach is churning. That's daggone shame. We got 15 people in the room. Alrighty, y'all. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I hope to see y'all back here tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna have what's the day? Monday. So tomorrow is Thankful Tuesday or Terrible Tuesday or Terrific Tuesday, depending on what our topic is. But you know we're gonna have a topic. So I hope y'all come ready to discuss it. I hope I entertained y'all tonight. Thanks to Snazzy for her videos. Thanks to Chung Lee for the topic that we had. Generational cycle of abuse. So I thank everybody that watched. As Nia would say, see you soon. As I say, I'll see you later on. Y'all have a great night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Once again, thanks for watching. The show ain't nothing without y'all showing up. Peace, everybody. Facts of Life, Nia, Snazzy, Chung Lee, Liz, everybody. If I forgot you, I'm sorry. Mud Duck. Y'all have a great night.